Hi everyone, can you guys see me? Hello everyone. Hey, can you guys see me? Can everyone see me? Thank you so much for coming over to my live stream today. I'll be doing some short reaction videos for the film tourists. Hopefully I can make it to 6 videos. I started my video very late today. Right now it's like 16:19 PM. Gosh, I'm not sure if I can make it to. By the time I finish 6 videos, it will be like 7 PM. Hopefully no disturbance. Hopefully. Anyways, and also hopefully there's natural light lah. There's natural light. So yeah, just got my 3rd booster shot yesterday. Having a slight fever, but I'm good. Thank you so much for carrying. Thank you. I'm good. But got to be honest, my eyelids a bit heavy. Genuinely want to rest up. Want to close my eyes and sleep. Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. But gosh, it's like really sleepy, really. Yeah. But still, I got to finish my reaction videos, and this will be uploaded in, if I'm not wrong, mid-January. If I'm not wrong, mid-January. Yeah. Hopefully everything goes well, and let's get started. Alright, I'm good. Let's go. Hi everyone, it's me at Avengers. Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. Is Thanos worthy? Alright, sounds good. Alright. Hi everyone, it's me, and today, Avengers! I forgot to test audio. I'm sorry, audio test 1, 2, 3.
Spoiler warning for Avengers Endgame.
Alright, spoilers warning for Avengers Endgame. I'm sorry, I need to check, audio check. My deepest apologies. Hi everyone!
Warning for Avengers Endgame.
Alright, good. Spoiler. Hello everyone, it's me, and today, Avengers! Sorry, Thor's hammer. Hello everyone, it's me, Avengers! Thor's hammer, Mjolnir! Is Thanos worthy? Interesting.
Spoiler warning for Avengers Endgame.
Sorry. Spoilers.
Give up, Thanos! You're finished! We're tired of your memes. They're as good as dead. I mean, they're on Facebook now.
Fine. This universe can no longer appreciate Thanos car memes, and I'll start a brand new one that will.
No!
Were you expecting something to happen?
I was kind of hoping I was worthy of Mjolnir and I could just kind of summon it. Wait, hold on, I'm getting a text.
Stop calling me.
Your help with something, right? Just saw a hammer and thought of you. You, me, drink, fighting evil, you in? Stop calling me! I will not help you fight. I thought I made that clear last Thursday.
I will not help you fight. I thought I made that clear last Thursday.
You got blue ticked! Oh,
Awkward.
ouch. Oh, that's awkward. Sorry.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Hello.
We're not America's ass, but we are the ass of YouTube. So there's no denying that Avengers Endgame was full of a lot of instantly iconic scenes.
True.
They snapped Ant-Man taco sequence, Fat Thor, but in a movie full of
You look like melted ice cream. And then Thor is like, I see this as an absolute win! Yeah!
awesome moments, none. Not one was as thrilling as watching Captain America using Mjolnir to fight Thanos. Just to paint the scene, since we don't fully have access to the footage yet, Thor is attacking Thanos with Stormbreaker when the tables suddenly turn. Thanos is pressing the axe closer and closer into Chris Hemsworth's chiseled bod. Or, I guess, beer-bellied bod in this movie.
Well, technically speaking, it is dead bod, but, well, he's not dead, right? Huh, interesting.
And out of nowhere, Thanos is knocked away by the hammer. Pull back to see Mr. America's ass wielding Asgard's mightiest weapon, and all the lightning powers that come with it. Ah, it is so good! Even though we can't show it since the home version isn't released yet, just talking about it with our little animations here is still getting me hyped for this scene. But after getting me hyped,
Excuse me?
it then got me curious. Who else could wield Mjolnir? Mjolnir is, after all, a weapon that judges a person's worthiness, so who else in this enormous cast of characters could make the cut? Should Hawkeye be trading in his bow? Could Black Widow have finally found herself a decent weapon other than gun? Or maybe, just maybe, Thanos could have wielded the hammer for himself. By looking at Steve and Thor's actions across these movies, and when they can or can't lift the hammer, we can start piecing together where Mjolnir's threshold of worthiness lies, and from there judge whether anyone else would pass the test.
Well, let's see who have wielded Mjolnir in the MCU. Alright, there is Thor, obviously. There is Captain America. There is Vision. There is the elevator. Get it, the elevator. And then there's the war rack. The war rack. And who else? The sister Hela. Actually, Hela destroyed Mjolnir. It's not wielding it. It's more like destroying it. Who else?
The best place to start when it comes to defining worthiness is, of course, the original Thor.
Oh, Odin wielded it.
From 2011. When the movie begins, Odin is bragging to Thor and Loki about how he heroically defeated the Frost Giants, and then pulls the greatest jerk move of all when he reprimands Thor for wanting to do the same thing.
A wise king never seeks out war.
But you just did!
You must always be ready for it.
A wise king also apparently hides his warmongering past behind centuries of propaganda, but don't worry, that won't become important for another 2 movies at least.
Oh my gosh, you can't see me!
Flash forward a few thousand years from that opening scene, and Thor is about to be crowned King of Asgard. Thor makes 3 vows during the ceremony. He swears to guard the 9 realms, to preserve the peace, and finally to cast aside all selfish ambitions for the good of the realm. So that already starts to outline the criteria that we might end up working with. During the coronation, Frost Giants attack. Thor throws himself a hissy fit that his coronation was interrupted, and swears vengeance on the Frost Giants.
You are a vain, greedy, cruel boy! And you are an old man and a fool!
Thereby breaking his oath to defend the 9 realms. Odin doesn't take it all that well.
You realize what you've done, what you've started?
I was protecting my home!
You cannot even protect your friends. How can you hope to protect the kingdom? You are unworthy of these realms.
It's pretty obvious why Thor would be deemed unworthy here, and he spends most of the rest of the movie depowered back on Earth. It's only after Thor recognizes that violence isn't always the answer, and he chooses to willingly sacrifice his life for Earth's safety, that Mjolnir suddenly deems Thor worthy once again. The hammer flies to Thor in his dying moments, and he's back into fighting shape, which is kind of an odd message, but okay, it tells us 2 major things here. In the eyes of Odin, in the eye of Odin.
Oh, snap! Get it, because you only have 1 eye. Something like Nick Fury or that.
Worthiness requires you to only use violence as a last resort, and it also requires you to be willing to sacrifice your life for a greater good. The story of Captain America actually supports these 2 qualifications as well. No one can doubt that Steve's intentions are pure throughout his movies. He's fighting in World War II to stop a force of evil and ultimately protect the people. And by the end of the first Avenger, he too has made the ultimate sacrifice. He gives up his life to protect others. This is why, even as far back as Age of Ultron, Steve was deemed worthy by Mjolnir. Look back on the hammer lifting scene from that movie. It is one of the best moments in the entirety of this franchise. Not only is it hilarious, but it's also a pure distillation of each of these various characters.
Oh, technically speaking, right, if you think about it, if you really twist the words about it, the table is worthy? The table that the hammer is lying on is worthy? If you really twist the word a bit here and there lah.
Tony is trying to outsmart Mjolnir with technology. Hawkeye is just kind of lost in this world of magic and superheroes. Banner plays off everything as a joke. The entire time, the hammer refuses to budge. But when Steve tries to pick it up, we see it move. Ever so slightly, but it does move. Back then, I think most of us wrote that scene off as Captain America almost being worthy to lift the hammer, but not quite being all the way there. However, looking back on the scene now that Endgame has happened, the truth is clear. Captain America could lift the hammer the entire time. He just played it off like he couldn't in order to not stand out above the others.
Which really makes him who he is. Someone that is so respectable. He knows he can do it, but he cares for, understands other people's feelings. Just such a great individual.
As director Anthony Russo himself confirms, quote, "In our heads, he was able to wield it. He didn't know that until that moment in Ultron when he tried to pick it up, but Cap's sense of character and humility, and out of deference to Thor's ego, Cap in that moment realizing he can move the hammer, decides not to," end quote. That's why in Endgame, Thor calls out.
I knew it.
Thor, like us, suspected that something else was going on, but couldn't be 100% sure until it actually happened. And in hindsight, it actually puts an even more interesting twist on this moment from the first Avenger.
You don't give up, do you? You could have the power of the gods!
Choosing not to pursue the power of the Tesseract in that first movie is a big reason why Steve is actually able to access the power of the gods by the time Ultron and Endgame roll around. And this is back in the first movie! God, I'm just really blown away by little details like this. It's really impressive. Anyway, the moral here is that power is granted to those who don't seek it out. Cap being worthy all the way back in Ultron may also explain another key moment in the franchise. Remember what Odin says.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
So really, Cap, from the moment he touches the hammer, is working with the power of Thor. So maybe that's how a normal human like Steve Rogers would be able to hold back Thanos' fully stoned gauntlet at the end of Infinity War. It's just a thought. And yes, I know that the co-writer of that movie, Christopher Marcus, said it was because Thanos was dumbfounded at the brazenness of Steve thinking he could hold back a Titan. And that's kind of dumb. It was totally the power of Odin. That is my personal canon now. Anyway, this all brings up...
And then that, according to MatPat.
To the main question of the day. Who else could pass Mjolnir's test by the end of Endgame? Surprisingly, it's more than you might think. Let's start off with the obvious one.
Yeah, true. If I think about it, you are worthy. You are worthy. Everybody is worthy. Yeah.
Tony. The Tony Stark who appears in Endgame is a far cry from the Tony Stark who failed to lift the hammer back in Age of Ultron. At the time, he was arrogant and selfish, but his overconfidence is something that he largely loses in the wake of Ultron's destruction of Sokovia.
A lot of character development over these multiple different films, multiple different movies. We really care, we really understand, and really respect his character arc. We learn from him. He's a good role model for us to learn from. Thank you so much, Tony Stark.
Just like Thor's time on Earth taught him humility, Sokovia taught Tony that
Tony Stank.
others were suffering because of his actions, and that he needed to be more responsible. But even at the end of that movie, he still wasn't worthy because he was selfish. It wouldn't be until Infinity War that Tony would actually overcome that other barrier. Him hopping aboard Thanos' ship was him giving up what he loved.
One-way trip.
Pepper Potts for the good of Earth. He didn't anticipate coming home from that trip. Yeah, he backslides a little bit at the beginning of Endgame, but by the time of the snap, he's back very solidly into the worthy column, sacrificing a perfect life with his family for the greater good. Which honestly makes his sacrifice that much more unfortunate, since, as we saw at the end of Thor, the power of Mjolnir can actually bring those on the brink of death back to life. So instead of that prolonged, tearful goodbye with Peter and Pepper, they should have just given him the hammer and revived it. But they didn't. And now he's dead. Moving on.
Oh, moving on.
Natasha Romanoff,
Awkward.
aka
Awkward.
Black Widow. When she's first given the chance to try lifting Mjolnir during the Ultron scene, she declines it by claiming,
That's not a question I need answered.
well, maybe not you, Natasha, but we all do. Now, admittedly, Natasha has a spotty past of assassination and murder.
I got red in my ledger.
But when you actually look at her behavior throughout the MCU, she's done nothing but selfless acts her entire life in an attempt to atone for her mistakes. And even those past mistakes weren't really her fault to begin with. She was kind of forced into them multiple times. As she herself says in Endgame,
I used to have nothing, and then I got this job, this family. All is better because of it.
her commitment to self-sacrifice for a greater good is ingrained in her character. In Winter Soldier, she exposes Alexander Pierce's evil schemes, knowing that, in the process, she'll also be exposing her own crime.
Which thus she'll be a refugee. She'll be always running for the rest of her life, forever.
Which will then force her back into hiding. She then signs the Sokovia Accords because she believes that the heroes do need to be more accountable, but then she goes on to help Captain America in his own personal quest to find justice, which causes her to again have to adopt status as a fugitive. So basically in Civil War, she's giving herself the worst of both worlds, all in pursuit of helping others. Even on her normal missions, she's willing to lay down her life.
5 years ago, I was escorting a nuclear engineer out of Iran, but the Winter Soldier was there. I was covering my engineer, so he shot him straight through me.
As for the other half of worthiness, Black Widow doesn't actively choose to fight, and even warns those who are more worthy than herself against entering battle.
You know what's about to happen. Do you really want to punch your way out of this one?
And like I alluded to earlier, she is a weapon that was created by other people. She didn't choose this life chose her, and she's trying to make the best of it. And
with so much character development, and this character arc is really, it's not what you are born with, it's what you do with, it's what you do with it. It's just awesome. Learn a lot from it.
all of this, of course, climaxes in her moment of ultimate sacrifice for the Soul Stone in Endgame. So would Black Widow be worthy of holding Mjolnir? Yes, 100% yes. She has more than redeemed herself, and would absolutely be seen as worthy in the eyes of the Hammer. She was probably worthy as far back as Age of Ultron. The brilliant part here, though, is that she's not worthy based on her own standards. The choice to have her not lift the hammer in Ultron showed that external signs of worthiness don't matter to her. It's more about how she feels about her own character, which is, again, sad, since had she tried to pick up the hammer and been successful, she would have seen that she's not as irredeemable as she thought.
I had this dream, the kind that seems normal at the time, but when you wake, that I was an Avenger, that I was anything more than the assassin they made me.
And that, again, is what makes these movies so awesome. Strong, emotional theming. Adding yet another level of insult to injury is the fact that if she hadn't sacrificed herself for the Soul Stone, her plus Mjolnir would have been a lot more useful in that final battle against Thanos than Hawkeye. I mean, Hawkeye just runs with the gauntlet and then hands it off to the evil Nebula. Good job there, buddy. And because of your murder spree as Ronin at the beginning of the movie, there is no chance that Clint is passing muster. Meanwhile, Black Widow plus a godlike hammer? Add her to that girl power shot, my friends. Speaking of girl power, what about another strong female from the series?
Well, you must understand that Hawkeye have been through a lot throughout, being just a regular individual, not having the superhuman serum, using just human strength, human techniques, skills, the things that he's developed over the years throughout his human life, without like special serum. He's really a human among gods, humans among mutants, human among superheroes, and really respect him for doing it, giving a spotlight as a human being.
During an interview with BuzzFeed Brazil
He can fly.
a few months back, Brie Larson made the claim that Captain Marvel was definitely worthy of Mjolnir.
Do you think Captain Marvel is able to lift Thor's hammer? Definitely.
Are you sure about that one, Brie? I think you might be getting strength confused with worth. Sure, at the end of Captain Marvel, she's doing her best to roam the cosmos protecting the helpless, but Captain Marvel hasn't shown herself to be self-sacrificing. She arrogantly believes that everyone, including Thanos himself, is no match for her.
Because before you didn't have me.
If she doesn't see there being a threat in the first place, then it's not much of a sacrifice for her to enter the battle, is it? And that's actually kind of my problem with this character so far. There are no stakes in a fight that she has no concern about winning. But that's not all. She also tends to resort to violence very quickly. Clearly, she holds a personal grudge against the Kree at the end of Captain Marvel, outright challenging Ronan the Accuser during the final space battle.
What was it against? There was this one post in which I read, I'm just quoting it. There's like a toxic masculinity, which is true, and there's a toxic femininity. Femininity. Oh my gosh, my English is horrible. Sorry.
Her method of punch first, ask questions later isn't going to be earning her any quality hammer time. So no, Brie, I have to disagree. Speaking of strength and sacrifice, we can quickly eliminate the Hulk as well. Losing to Thanos didn't make Hulk humble in the slightest. If anything, it made him more arrogant than ever before.
Say green.
Granted, this isn't really disqualifying on its own, but you know what is? Hulk's motto. Really the phrase of someone who's going to be using diplomacy first. Even when he snaps using the gauntlet in Endgame, he still thinks that he's going to be fine. He specifically says,
It's like I was made for this.
With all the gamma radiation.
Indicating that his best guess is that he would survive. Not much of a sacrifice, not much of a pacifist, not so worthy in the eye of Odin. Which brings us to the grand finale, the third and final snapper. Perhaps the most interesting name to consider on this list, Thanos himself. You may remember last year when I made the outrageous claim that Thanos was right. So is it possible that Thanos is in fact worthy? I mean, sure, he's treated as the villain of these movies, but in principle, his mission seems solid, even if it is a bit misguided. He's going around planet to planet wiping out half of all life to help those who remain.
Yes, you must understand that, especially after Eternals happens, and we see that maybe Thanos was an Eternal as well, and then he wanted to save the planets. Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
He doesn't want what happened on his home planet to happen to anyone else's. It is, in his mind, a noble mission. And based on what we've seen about how the hammer works, worthiness isn't about being right or wrong, it's about intention. How pure is your desire to help? Based on what we see, you can make a strong case for him meeting our two criteria. First, self-sacrifice. In pursuit of his noble mission, Thanos shows himself willing to make the hard sacrifices for what he perceives to be the greater good.
For the Soul Stone.
He sacrifices his greatest love, his own daughter Gamora, off the cliff. We see him gravely injured after using the Infinity Stones not just once, but twice, making him so weak that he's finished off without trouble at the beginning of Endgame. In a way, he is—
You should have gone for the head!
repeatedly making the ultimate sacrifice of his own life as well as the lives of those he loves purely to achieve this goal of helping other people in the way that only he knows how to do. One clip alone sums this up best.
What did it cost?
Everything.
As for avoiding violence as a first resort, yeah, you could argue that he does this too. In Endgame, he sits around and waits until all the other heroes attack him. He doesn't seek out the violence, he lets it come to him. On an even bigger scale though, he just sits around on his floating space throne and waits for literally the entire series.
Then fine, I'll do it myself.
Only choosing to step in to fight when it's clear that no one else is going to be able to help him accomplish his mission. But perhaps the biggest point in his favor is that once he accomplishes his elimination of half of all life, he stops. From what we see on Gamora's home planet and on Earth, Thanos only pursues violence insofar as it's necessary for the task that he sets out to do. Could he have killed more people? Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
But he doesn't. At least he doesn't until they continue to bring the fight back to him.
Where did that bring you? Back to me.
It seems like even the movie's editors knew that this was the case, considering that in promotional materials for Infinity War, Thanos says,
Fun isn't something one considers when balancing the universe, but this does put a smile on my face.
But in the actual movie, this line was not said. So they actually cut this away so that to make it show that Thanos do this for the good of everyone.
Which would seem to indicate that he does get some joy out of this process. But the line was cut from the final release of the film. For being a warring titan, Thanos is shockingly reserved. And again, this cannot be overstated enough. When he gets control over all the Infinity Stones, he has the power of the universe in his hand. He still doesn't use the stones for his own personal gain. He doesn't use them to kill needlessly. He uses them once to help everyone, and then he uses them again to destroy them so that no one can undo his actions. That is it. Even the choice of him using the stone to accomplish his mission is a point in his favor. Look at how he describes it.
With all 6 stones, I could simply snap my fingers. They would all cease to exist. I call that mercy.
It's a clean way of killing. It's not violent or painful. Like he says, it is a merciful way to go. He's clearly thought this through for the best interests of everyone, all those who live, as well as all those who are gonna die. So is Thanos actually worthy of wielding Mjolnir?
But, it's like trying to say that his intentions are good. He wants to kill everyone with mercy, randomly, without any biases involved. But, he forces it onto other people. Have you think of the consequences that happens after? He thinks that after destroying half of everything, the other half will grow, improve. But what if it will lead to more catastrophic disaster? What if?
While there's a great case to be made for Thanos, there is one final consideration. He's helping people who aren't looking for help themselves. Sure, his goals may be noble, and yes, he may only commit as much violence as he needs to in pursuit of that mission, but he's also imposing his will on others without their consent. They didn't ask for help, and yet Thanos comes storming into their planet to outright tell them what to do with extreme actions of violence.
Extreme action of violence, instilling your principles, your beliefs, what you think is correct onto other people. No, please don't do that.
Is that the definition of worthy? No, it's not. This would be the deal breaker. At least, it would be the deal breaker for most people. But remember, we're not worried about most people. We're worried about one person in this franchise in particular. Odin. Odin is the one who cast the charm on Mjolnir. And this whole time, we've been asking, what is worthy in the eye of Odin? It's easy to forget that Odin himself, like Thanos, was a conqueror. Odin subjugated the 9 realms because he too thought that it was an act that served a greater good. According to Hela in Thor Ragnarok, he slaughtered untold amounts of people to achieve this goal.
No one can thwart our history. I was his weapon in the conquest that built Asgard's empire. One by one, the realms became ours.
It was only after he finished his task that he decided to become a peaceful king. Thanos' quest actually falls into the same territory. Be violent and be hated while you're taken over, but retire and let those who remain be peaceful after it's all over. As Thanos himself says,
the hardest choices require the strongest will.
Something Odin would be inclined to agree with. So is Thanos worthy of Mjolnir? I would have to say that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, yes, he is worthy.
In the eye of Odin.
Most people's definition of worthy, I'd say no, but based on the evidence that we see across all these movies, as well as the morals of Odin, the man who made the enchantment in the first place.
So think about it, your worthiness, what you think, what your belief, what your principles are, even a dictionary point of view does not matter. Because all these are not in the eye of Odin. Odin, the god Odin.
Thanos is within the bounds of worthiness. He should be able to lift Mjolnir. Maybe that's why he's able to stop Stormbreaker in the final endgame scene. Maybe that's why it doesn't end in the way how it should have ended proposed, with Thor launching the hammer at him and just perma-pinning him down. It actually opens up a lot of really interesting avenues. But now he's dead, without realizing that he was worthy in the first place, just like Natasha and Tony. Man, if only people had stopped and asked themselves this question before they got into a climactic final battle. Hindsight is 2020. Which is useful in the Marvel Cinematic Universe considering you have a time stone that turns things backwards in time. So bring back Thanos and Black Widow and Tony and let them wield the power of Thor. It would be so cool. A 3-way battle royale with the hammer. If you make that happen, Disney, that is the thing that'll get me to subscribe to your new Disney Plus subscription service. But hey, that's just
I've been carrying this hammer all day and my arms are not so sore.
the theory. A film theory. And cut.
Oh, that's a good joke. Are you worthy? Am I worthy? Probably not, but well, it'll be cool to understand, right? Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video together with me. It has been very fun, very interesting, and very thought-provoking. I hope that you learned something new from this video, and yeah, maybe let's be more welcoming, understanding, and polite individual with respectful manners to everyone. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Sincerely appreciate that all of you showing support and attention to my work. And yeah, Hope that you like this video. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have any of us. Don't forget to follow my channel and sincerely appreciate all the support and encouragement for my work. Thank you so much. It's very awesome and kind to see all of your encouragement and positivity and wholesomeness involved. Your encouragement is all, your support is just very nice. But hey, that's just a theory, a film theory, and cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye! Thank you. Subscribe. Oh, hi. Hi, Adore Ventina. Hi. Thank you so much for coming over. Hello, how are you doing? Next is Avenger. Oh, Phoenix.
What? Where am I?
Phoenix, Arizona. I watched this video like 5 times already. I really like this video. How should I do this? X-Men? X-Men. Avengers. X-Men. Avengers. Responsible. Hello everyone, it's me, X-Men Avengers. Who's the one responsible? Okay, let's start. Let's start. X-Men Avengers! Hello everyone, it's me, X-Men Avengers! Who is the one responsible? Let's start.
What? Where am I?
I'm kidnapped.
Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix,
nice.
Arizona.
Did you seriously just kidnap me and drive me to the middle of the desert for a dark Phoenix pun?
Oh, I did much more than that, Matt Pat. So much more!
Mouse! Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory. Hello.
The show that's awash in the blood of metahumans. Seriously, at this point, dead...
Have you noticed theory is the X...
Superheroes are to film theory what dead kids are to game theory. But today, I thought we'd look at a little less literal of a killing and more of a metaphorical one. Let's talk X-Men's Dark Phoenix. A film that came out to the worst reviews in the franchise's history and has grossly underperformed at the box office. Which, honestly, is really sad to me. Without the original X-Men film, superhero movies just wouldn't be where they are today. The 1-2 combo of X-Men and then Sam Raimi's Spider-Man proved that a comic book hero's most powerful ability was the power to sell tickets. The new movies have been really solid. First,
true, and I really like it that he mentions about the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, which, fun fact, I like it. No Way Home! Yeah!
Class and Days of Future Past were amazing. Like I said, those two were amazing. And with Dark Phoenix being the last in the series now that Disney's in charge, it's a bummer to see such a pivotal franchise go out not with a bang, but with a whimper. So today, I wanted to look at what went wrong with this new movie. I mean, its opening weekend earned half of even the worst movies of the X-Men franchise. That is serious. When you're doing worse than X-Men Origins Wolverine, you know you done goofed. And admittedly, there's a lot of blame to go around. Sophie Turner struggling to maintain an American accent while saying the word father, Michael Fassbender being just as confused as to why Magneto's in this movie as the audience is, the marketing team deciding not to put the words X-Men at the front of the movie's title in giant bold letters. Guys, an X with a circle is just not gonna cut it when it comes to brand awareness.
Well, technically speaking, they could have done it better, right? There's a lot of room for improvements. Awesome.
I saw that and thought it was telling me that this was a movie about railroad crossings. Those are all just the minor points. Well, not that last one. I actually think that last one is a really big misstep. You don't know this is an X-Men movie unless you know what Dark Phoenix is referencing. Still, the biggest blame of all goes to one villain in particular. Forget Mr. Sinister, Apocalypse, and Juggernaut. The entity that's now proven itself to be the greatest enemy to the X-Men is Captain Marvel. But to really understand why, and why to a level that no one else is covering, let me first quickly recap both movies to you, and then things will start to make a little bit more sense.
Okay, so not necessarily Captain Marvel as the character, but the Captain Marvel in the movie. Right? I mean, right? You know what I'm thinking? Well, moving on.
Captain Marvel. Set in the early 90s, a strong, independent female named Carol Danvers is in a space-related accident with an experimental aircraft that results in her absorbing cosmic powers. The accident also gives her sudden onset amnesia. Her mentor actively lies to her about her past, but she learns the truth, which in turn unleashes her true potential, and she turns on the man who was once her teacher, setting out on a massive mission of revenge. Oh, and there happens to be a race of shape-shifting aliens called the Skrulls that are caught in the crossfire.
Okay, yes, that is Captain Marvel in a pretty summarized nutshell. How about the X-Men? Your turn.
Dark Phoenix. Set in the early 90s, a strong, independent female named Jean Grey is in a space-related accident with an experimental aircraft that results in her absorbing cosmic powers. Though she doesn't experience any memory loss, it's eventually revealed that her mentor has been actively lying to her about her past since she was a little girl. She learns the truth, which unleashes her true potential, and she turns on the man who was once her teacher, setting out on a massive mission of self-discovery. Oh, and there's a race of shape-shifting aliens called the Dabari caught in the crossfire. Captain Marvel released into theaters March 8th, 2019. Dark Phoenix was supposed to release November 2nd of 2018. Then again on February 14th of this year. Months and then mere weeks earlier than Captain Marvel. Are you starting to notice a problem here? Okay, so admittedly I may have oversimplified the plots of these two movies just a wee little bit, but
well, technically speaking, you did summarize it a little too similar, but you get the point. You get the point, right?
There is very clearly a bit of overlap between the two films. Female superheroes with space powers encounter shape-shifting aliens and deal with their lying mentor. And here I thought releasing biopics of famous musical artists named after their most iconic songs within a 6-month span was a bad idea. But in all seriousness, the overlap was originally gonna be greater. Much greater. You see, Dark Phoenix currently ends with a battle on a train, but it was originally meant to end with a battle in space, just like the ending of another movie, Captain Marvel. According to leaked reports off of test screenings for the film, the third act of Dark Phoenix culminated in a full-scale alien invasion at the UN, where Jean Grey has to launch herself into space to defeat the alien armada.
Wait. So you're trying to say that the original script for the original idea that the ending big fight is going to be in space was changed due to the fact that Captain Marvel?
Where have I seen that before? In the end, Jean sacrifices herself to destroy the fleet. It's something that appears to be confirmed by Simon Kinberg, writer, director, and producer of Dark Phoenix. Quote, my
A lot of roles involved.
original ending didn't have the entire X family together the way they are in the film now. Usually, these big, huge action movies have the climactic moment in the third act. I loved the way that Civil War had its big action set piece where everyone's facing off more towards the end of the second act rather than in the third. So that after that huge battle, you're left with Winter Soldier, Captain America, and Iron Man. It's this telescoped down view of their raw emotions, and I loved how intimate that was. That's what I was going for with Dark Phoenix's ending, even though it then might have looked like Captain Marvel for about 2 minutes. End quote. So basically, Jean sacrifices herself and the team winds up divided. That's how I read into that quote. But in the process, as he admits, it looks like a Captain Marvel space battle for 2 minutes. So what's the big deal here? It's only like 2 minutes of similarities between the two movies, right? Well, if you calculate the time that Captain Marvel is actually in space doing battle against an armada of invading alien ships, it winds up being, you guessed it, almost exactly 2 minutes.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so we have 2 movies with strong females getting accidental cosmic superpowers while also being lied to by their mentors, leading them to ultimately encounter shape-shifting aliens and have a climactic space battle against an armada of ships for exactly 2 minutes.
So why the script change? What was the idea for the movie changed?
But come on! Those sorts of coincidences happen every day in Hollywood. It's not like the X-Men and Captain Marvel are dealing with the same aliens invading Earth, right? Ha! One are the Dabari, and one are the Skrulls and Kree. They're not the same, right? Right? They're the same freaking aliens, aren't they? Yep, the Dabari who end up as the alien race in Dark Phoenix, and who go unnamed for practically the entire movie, which should already tip you off that this was changed during reshoots, were originally meant to be the Skrulls. In fact, in the comics, the Dabari basically get one panel in the Dark Phoenix saga in which they're being wiped out by Jean Grey, and that's it. That's all the characterization they ever get. Not much to build an entire villain civilization around for your new movie, Fox. For further proof that these shapeshifters were originally meant to be the Skrulls, we turn to an interview with the actor of Cyclops, Ty Sheridan.
Okay, so interesting. So the Skrulls are supposed to be the bad guy and the good guy at the same time?
Quote, there's this huge battle between the guards at the UN and Jean Grey, and all the guards turn out to be Skrulls. And then Jean and Scott is fighting Skrulls in the fountain, end quote. And for further proof, we turn to the head Dabari herself, Jessica Chastain, who had this to say about her character.
So it was always like every day kind of trying to figure out, who am I? You know, the mystery of who is this character? And then understanding that also with the reshoots, you kind of go, oh, it's changing again. You know what I mean? It was like a constant evolution.
So how was Dark Phoenix expecting to get away with using the Skrulls when it's clearly a Marvel property? Well, in truth, the question should actually be asked the other way. Many fans had assumed that the Skrulls couldn't appear in the MCU because of their connection to the Fantastic Four, a Marvel property whose film rights were sold to Fox back in the days when Marvel was bankrupt. Marvel being bankrupt. Man, if at first you don't succeed, sell to Disney. But
yeah, no comment. No comment.
Seriously, the Skrulls first appeared in Fantastic Four #2, and then again in Fantastic Four #18. That was their origin. Seems like it should be a slam dunk for Dark Phoenix to use the property, except, like all things in life, it's more complicated than that. According to a tweet from Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn, the Skrulls actually have shared custody between Marvel and Fox. Quote, some specific Skrulls are at Fox, but the Skrulls as a whole are co-owned, end quote. So apparently Marvel gets custody Wednesdays and every other weekend. But in all seriousness, how did these two movies end up like this?
I really like it that even though it's a very solid, it's a very dark, under table talk about this topic, but Matt just can make it sound look so funny, adorable, and just comedic. Thank you so much, Matt, for being so understanding. Thank you.
Dark Phoenix Saga is, at its core, a very different story from Captain Marvel. In the X-Men, Dark Phoenix is all about a team of mutants being forced to stop one of their own from turning evil. Captain Marvel, meanwhile, is the exact opposite. It's the story of a solo pilot and her cosmic case of Stockholm Syndrome.
And don't forget, answering the fact that why Nick Fury got the goose.
So what happened? Well, James McAvoy, the actor who plays Professor X, may have summed up the situation best.
We were trolling through the same source material, it seems.
I mean, obviously, the Dark Phoenix saga and Captain Marvel aren't the same comic, but in a lot of ways, they may as well be.
True, every hero does have a dark side.
Before the X-Men were cancelled in 1970, yeah, that's another surprise. It was such an unpopular comic when it was first released that it was cancelled for half a decade in the 70s.
Wow.
Anyway, back then, Jean Grey often went by the moniker Marvel Girl. And Captain Marvel is just Marvel Girl after a few promotions, right? No, obviously, I'm just joking, but the two do still share a remarkable heritage. When Jean was brought back for the Dark Phoenix saga, it was by comic writer Chris Claremont. Claremont took Jean Grey, who at the time was considered a throwaway character, and made her a star. I mean, literally, he made her a star. But Claremont...
Oh, wait. Okay, not like a star as in a popularity celebrity, as in a real star, as in the sun kind of star. You know, the sun, 太阳, you know, star.
Career as a comic writer and reviver of throwaway characters was far from over. Fast forward a few years and Claremont is working on a comic called Miss Marvel. You may be tempted to believe that this is an evolution of Marvel Girl with a bit more maturity, but actually, Ms. Marvel was an entirely different character. Not Jean Grey, but Carol Danvers. Carol would, decades later, take on the mantle of her predecessor and become Captain Marvel, but only after Claremont's lobbying for his female spin-off to take over for the traditionally male role. Both characters revived and molded in huge ways by Claremont. And so, in a lot of ways, the source material really was the same. Even all that being considered, though, obviously the impending acquisition of Fox by Disney didn't help things along. Captain Marvel may not have killed Jean Grey, but the mouse certainly did. First, we saw what they did with the Skrull in Captain Marvel. Much to everyone's surprise,
make the Skrulls become the good guy.
They're the good guys in that movie. It would be confusing for audiences to see them acting good in one movie and then suddenly turning heel in the next that happens only a month later.
On the same planet Earth.
Or worse,
right? Oh no, different dimensions, different universe.
For Disney, Dark Phoenix releasing before Captain Marvel. And now the MCU's big female hero flick gets railroaded as audiences grapple with the inconsistent Skrull treatment, and Dark Phoenix gets there first. The mouse sacrificed Jean Grey for Carol Danvers, and this was honestly crucial since Disney clearly has plans for the Skrulls moving forward. They know where Marvel's headed into the post-Endgame phase of movies, and the Skrulls are 99% certain to factor into that. Kevin Feige, the mastermind behind the MCU, has been very upfront when speaking about a branching division of Earth-centric films and space-centric films. And with that comes the continuation of the story of the Skrull, as they are heavily involved in some of the most iconic Marvel stories out there, specifically Secret Invasion, where fan-favorite characters are suddenly replaced by doppelganger Skrulls.
Yes, especially in the movie Spider-Man Far From Home, where they found out that Nick Fury was not there. Nick Fury can't be found anywhere on the planet Earth during that period of time.
That is an impossible plot line to pass up. But two movies using the same characters would have just caused both of those movies, and specifically that race of characters, to suffer. And so just like a divorce with joint custody, the primary caregiver is the one who gets the say. And in this case, we're all forced to bow to the will of Disney, especially a struggling studio that's looking to get a $71 billion buyout, Fox. And that's kind of sad. As we're going forward into a world where Disney is going to own all but the DC superheroes, we may want to pause at this moment and think about what this really means. Sure, it means awesome things like Wolverine and Hulk finally sharing the screen together, but it also means no more Fox taking chances and doing things differently. No more baffling Fantastic Four movies as they desperately try to hold on to the IP, giving us movies that we can laugh at for decades to come. No.
Oh, ouch, that hurts, that burns, that roasts.
Or Universal giving comic book movies to Ang Lee. But with 2 or 3 movies coming out each year into the foreseeable future, Disney is gonna have to start to learn that some things are just gonna have to overlap, or we may end up with a lot more Dark Phoenixes on our hands. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
What? Who? The Skrulls. I really like it that they have the power to transform themselves. Like a Pokemon Ditto. Like Ditto. Actually Mew can also do it, but anyways, Ditto. They can transform themselves in which it's a good thing that they turn out to be the good guy in the movie. Hope so, hopefully. And yeah. And also quite sus that they can change into some other different form. Like an imposter like that. Sus! Well, anyways, thanks so much for watching this video together with me. I hope that you find this video very interesting and very unique to watch. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have any share of us. Don't forget to follow my channel and sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for my work. Thank you so much. It's very supportive and positive to see all your wholesomeness involved. Thank you so much and I hope to see you all in my next video. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. Thank you. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Subscribe. Alright, that's good. Wow. Thank you so much for the 3 comments in chat. Thank you. Sincerely appreciate it. Let's go. I've rated to 2 videos. Both are about Avengers. I'm thinking of, hi everyone, it's me. Let's escape from this theory. Is it correct? Escape the night. Escape the night. Together. Hello everyone, it's me, and today let's escape the night together. Together. Let's go. Together. Alright, let's start. Hello everyone, it's me, and today let's escape the night together. Let's go. Sorry, my bad. Sorry, my bad. Sorry. Bingo. Start 3, 2, 1. Hey, hello everyone, it's me, and today let's escape the night together. Let's go. The detector.
I am more than comfortable putting loads of meat in my mouth. I was excited. He's more of a hovering than soaring gracefully, but it'll do. Yay, I love finding severed body parts. I do not support animal cruelty! Ro, you've been the best friend I could ask for.
I love you.
I love you too, Ro. A theory about a show I'm in where I play myself, but also a detective from the 1970s? That would be meta enough, but get this. The show, Escape the Night, actually sponsored this video and approved me talking about how the show's host is actually evil and can't be trusted.
Wow! That is meta! Super metaverse!
The level of meta in this episode has just hit a brand new extreme.
Gosh, as a fan, it's awesome.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory!
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory! Hello! Oh my gosh, can't wait for it. This is super meta. As a fan, I like it.
A true YouTube original. Not like an official show produced by YouTube original. I just mean an original series only found here on YouTube. You know what is a show produced by YouTube, however? Escape the Night, the longest running YouTube original series of all time, which, ironically enough, also has the longest tagline for a show of all time. According to the show's trailer, Escape the Night is a postmodern, unscripted murder mystery surreality competition.
Okay, your favorite postmodern, unscripted murder mystery surreality competition.
Things like a Mad Lib on steroids. Yes, YouTube, I too can throw adjectives into a blender and make them appear on
geeky, complicated, nerdy
screen and fancy graphics. Film Theory is YouTube's coolest, most complex, gore-filled, educational, animated pop culture infographic analysis slideshow.
Coolest, most complex, gore-filled, educational, animated, pop culture, infographic, analyst slideshow.
Slap that on a t-shirt and sell it. But for as much as I joke, Escape the Night is, at its core, something all us theorists love. A mystery. A supersized, horror-themed escape room where every step along the way, a popular YouTuber died.
And especially when it stars Matt Pat. Yeah. A bit like, the kind of feeling.
Being on the show is almost like a YouTuber rite of passage at this point, with some of the biggest creators on the platform showing up to prove their puzzle-solving prowess. Season 1 had the likes of Glozell, Lily Pons, and Shane Dawson. Season 2 featured Tana Mojo, Liza Koshy, and Gabby Hanna. And Season 3, the best season cause it's my season, had a ton of
Hashtag totally unbiased. Yeah.
my favorite people both on and off YouTube, like Colleen Ballinger, Sophia Nygaard, and my sister from another Mista, Rosanna Pansino. And now, Season 4, the newest season, which launches today, promises to feature the best of the best as it's an all-star season. I mean, how you do an all-star season when canonically everyone is dead is beyond me, but then again, I was dead too at one point and I got revived, so look at me setting the trends.
Look at me!
Hashtag dead and loving it. But here's the thing, even though Escape the Night is like the bizarre love child of Survivor and American Horror Story, where people get voted out and instead of torches getting snuffed out by a smarmy host, it's your life getting snuffed out by a bloodthirsty harpy, there is a deeper lore present throughout this entire thing. This isn't just a competition reality show. There is a massive story that spans all 3 seasons of this thing. A story that most viewers, heck, even us contestants, aren't aware of because it's so well hidden. Don't believe me? Here's a great example. See this arm from Season 1? Seems like just any old creepy clue, right? Wrong! Notice the patterns on the arm, which matches up to our mentor Calliope's arm tattoos from Season 3. The two are connected. At the end of our season, Calliope dies, and somehow her arm ends up back at the haunted house the YouTubers explore in Season 1. There are tons of little details just like this sprinkled throughout the show, all pointing to the larger series narrative. And as I've gone back through to re-binge the series in time for the show's return, and the return of some of my dearly departed friends, something is now crystal clear to me. Something that I suspected during my season, but that I now see beyond a reasonable doubt. The host and show's creator, popular YouTube vlogger Joey Graceffa, is actually the villain of his own series. Even though he acts just like any other contestant, fighting whatever murderous clowns or bloodthirsty robots the show throws your way that week, he's one of them, working against us. He's a plant, a villain, someone out to sabotage his friends.
Something like a spy, or like an insider, an imposter. Quite sus. It's Among Us!
And the craziest part of all is that he might not even recognize it. Beware, my friends, going forward, the tea gets hot, and the plot lines start getting a little bit spoilery, so consider yourself warned.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Deepest apologies, but maybe there's a spoiler. Sorry.
To understand the plot of the series and the role Joey plays in bringing about the deaths of dozens of popular online personalities,
she's toward dying. It's fine.
Oh my God, she's dead.
we need to know where things began. Season 1 opens with Joey explaining that he's having weird dreams when he suddenly inherits a large estate. He accepts it on blind faith and, as if he hasn't seen the plot of any horror movie in existence ever, promptly decides to move in. He claims,
"Won't let me sleep until I invite others."
And instead of being like, that's a red flag, maybe I should consider posting up at the Comfort Inn instead, he thinks that his insomnia will be cured if he throws a party. All of this is very logical decision making from Joey. Moving!
Yeah, there's a... Is it a plot armor, plot device, or is it Deus Ex?
Into the meat of episode 1, it's revealed that the king of conspiracy theories himself, Shane Dawson, has been poisoned at dinner and dies. Whoopsie! There goes Shane's next docuseries. Darn it! And I had already pre-ordered my conspiracy theory makeup palette. They come to learn that Shane was actually a member of a secret society creatively named the Society Against Evil, which is, get this, a society that fights against evil.
Wow! Surprise! Wow! So surprising. Very surprising.
Truth in advertising for the win! The house that Joey's inherited is possessed by an evil spirit, and the gang has to find a bunch of hidden artifacts, bring them all together, and free themselves with a ritual. The Society Against Evil has marked clues around the house to help them, and Season 1 progresses as contestants get bumped off, and Joey gets closer and closer to his fully ghost-busted dream home. The problem is, Joey doesn't exactly show himself to be on the good guy's side. As the season goes on, we see Joey playing along as though he's helping to rid the house of demons, but if you actually stop and look at his behavior, things just don't add up. Take, for instance, this scene, where Joey and Lily Pons uncover a death note, which gives them the opportunity to kill off one of their friends by writing down their name. Lily suggests that they give the decision up to fate by playing Spin the Bottle. Joey, however, insists that they write down Glozell. Not only one of the most popular players in the house, but also one of the most vocal in her suspicions of Joey's role in all the murder that's happening around him.
We buried Justine, but you were acting like you were just so sad, and I just don't believe that you were really so sad.
Why?
I didn't buy the act at all, Joey.
Glozell was going in at Joey, and now Joey's killed Glozell. Why?
Joey's rationale for making such a cruel choice?
It was either her or me.
Lily pretty much has to go along with the decision.
Well, it is your house, so...
But if that wasn't suspicious enough, Joey then proceeds to cover up his role in Glozell's murder.
I don't want them to know that we put her name in the book.
Making up a lie and repeatedly pressuring Lily about keeping the secret.
I didn't say anything.
I won't say
Okay, promise?
I know.
And is Joey sorry about his decision? Does he regret killing off not only a friend, but also one of the most beloved members of his party? I'll let him speak for himself.
It's my party and I can kill whoever I want to.
The two...
Whoa! Wait, what? Wait, what? Do you literally just say that? What?
Other people who are suspicious of him but keep it under wraps also happen to be the final survivors of the season. So Joey invites his friends to a party and then shows zero remorse as he kills them off one at a time. No big deal, right? I mean, it is, but the goal is to escape this house possessed by an evil spirit, so I guess it kinda makes sense. Except again, there's one huge problem with Joey's behavior. Joey keeps the house at the end of the season. Let me make that clear. He pockets the deed to a murder house possessed by evil spirits, an act that he clearly knows is wrong because he secretly does it outside of the sight of the other surviving YouTubers. I mean, Joey, I know LA real estate is cutthroat, man. I live here too, but there's no excuse for holding onto a property that's literally killed 8 of your BFFs.
I don't think anyone will understand what happened tonight at this house.
That's right, Joey, they won't. They think that you heroically escaped with your life, but what really happened is that you racked up a death toll of 8 in exchange for some real estate straight out of The Shining. Even the other survivors aren't fooled. When he asks them back for his next dinner party in Season 2, their response says it all.
I am not going to another party by Joey.
Not today, Satan!
By season 2, we see that the evil that's possessed the house is now creeping into Joey himself. And you can even see it start to show up on his face. At no point has he, asked for help or told anyone like, hey guys, Joey here. I think I might have the touch of the curse going on. That would be a kick butt YouTube video, Joey, but do you do it? Nope. Over the course of the season, the next crop of dead men and women walking work their way through a Victorian masquerade where they fend off everything from the king of vampires to an evil gingerbread woman. Along the way, we yet again see Joey betraying the very people who are there trying to help him out. When Daystorm calls Joey's team weak,
I think Joey's team is weak, slow, can't keep up with us.
Joey immediately responds by cutting his throat.
Don't help Daystorm!
And Joey's wrath isn't just limited to people who question him.
Okay, that escalated way too quickly.
He even sacrifices people from his own alliances. In episode 1, Joey and Liza Koshy are chained to sacrificial crosses, destined to be food for vampires. They escape, and from that moment on, they are practically inseparable. As you can imagine, almost becoming an undead buffet has a way of uniting people. Until, of course, Joey decides to turn on Liza.
I feel like Liza could handle it.
What is this about? Joey and I had a great time being a great team, and now he wants to send me to my death?
Unfortunately, the remaining players are just so happy to be alive that they don't call him out on it, so Joey slips by until the next episode. Here, finally, Joey has to actually fight for his own life after being unanimously nominated by his team.
The only two that haven't proven themselves yet are Joey and Andrea.
After completing the challenge,
That's a very interesting plot. That's a very interesting plot. The movie is the video, sorry.
Challenge for the second time in this series, Joey has to choose someone outside of the challenge to die.
No!
And after about 10 seconds of being distraught about it, he chooses Tana Mojo. And then he's mad that he didn't get himself a power gem in return.
It makes me so angry that Tana just died and we didn't get what we were promised.
Jeez, she hasn't even put on TanaCon yet. Joey Graceffa literally cancels Tana before the internet does.
Oh, ouch, that roast, that burn.
Girl's been canceled more times than Futurama. By the end of the season, Joey has the blood of yet another 7 YouTubers on his hands. But in an interesting twist, he himself dies in the final moments. Unfortunately, what is dead may never die, because Joey is back at it in season 3 after making a quick pact with none other than the Society Against Evil, which, the more I research, the more it seems like their name might be compensating for something. At this point, it's unclear what side they're actually on, but what is clear is that they offered Joey a choice. He can get his life back, but to do so, he'll have to sacrifice the lives of yet another batch of content creators.
So, why are you being so selfish, and why? That's just the wrong thing to do.
Joey Graceffa, ladies and gentlemen, taking down YouTubers faster than a Mr. Beast paintball tournament.
I'm out.
This deal in which he has to trade the lives of others for his own life is of course a deal that Joey accepts without question.
Well, Mr. Beast's paintball challenge is the Jaden Animation's Odd Ones Out, and my fanboy. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of all three of them.
They find out my secret, I'm ruined.
And this time, I'm caught in the crossfire, and we were off to the carnival. A carnival from the 1970s, to be exact. This time, Joey does actually bother to warn everyone that they're headed into a dangerous mission, but, dangerous is a far cry from certain death. Here I am thinking that I'm finally cool enough to be invited to a YouTuber party, but instead of collabs, I get kill abs. They kill me. I die. In fact, Colleen and I both die directly at Joey's hands in a pretty suspicious way after we both call him out for, sacrificing all his friends so that he and he alone can come back to life.
You need me.
Liar.
How is that
You're a liar.
I'll leave it.
I don't believe anything that you say.
Seems to be a trend across these 3 seasons, huh? You see,
Interesting plot, legit, the plot is very interesting. It's funny, it's sad, but you must recognize that. Wow, that's Oh,
See,
wow.
for the first time in the series, we all started to figure out that something was going on, and we decided to call Joey out on it.
Is Joey on our side, or is he just trying to kill us?
And for the first time in the entire series, Joey comes clean about the fact that his life depends on surviving the season.
I didn't know what was going on, and I signed a contract that I would save this town, and they would bring me back to life. If I don't save this town, I die with it.
And yeah, he brings out his little crocodile tears, but the fact of the matter is, Joey, you sentenced everyone around you to die to make your little behind-the-scenes deal.
Super selfish.
I didn't know how you guys would take it.
Pretty poorly, actually. Because what you just said is that you're willing to trade 9 lives for yours, Joey? Great. There's no justice here.
Yeah, you go, dorky Sheriff Matt Pat. And
Yes, you go, Matt Pat talking to Matt Pat. Oh, wow. Matt Pat talking to Matt Pat. Super meta.
then, like clockwork, anytime anyone tries to disagree with Joey, I end up in the unfortunate position of dying. I fail in a nail-biting tiebreaker against Manny MUA. By the way, can we just take a second to look at what a try-hard I am here?
There we go.
wow.
Pretty good.
Wow.
Take note, reality TV contestants, this is how you get way too invested into your character. Anyway, my ego and my life set aside, in the next episode there's an even more blatant betrayal after Colleen also calls into question the mighty wisdom of Joey.
Not only that Matt Pat did that performance, they also included Matt Pat's performance into the final cards. That's quite fun actually. Very fun.
Nice acting, Joey. I don't believe any of it. He even had a single tear. I swear to God, that was a spit tear.
One of the biggest things I feel I've done so far was have a gut feeling about Joey.
And then finds herself on the wrong end of his death hammer.
I'm gonna vote for you.
Joey, I'm sorry I came for you earlier, but you were lying to us.
And then, just to make sure that none of his other secrets get out, Joey makes sure that Colleen ends up in an Iron Maiden, literally screaming and crying.
Seriously?
Stop, please!
So at this point in the series, it's pretty clear that Joey leaves a path of heartless deaths in his wake, that he's also been part of a larger evil scheme to save himself at the expense of basically every creator he follows on Twitter. Or is it? Well, all this time it looks like Joey is the big series bad guy of his own show,
Yeah.
episode after episode, season after season. What if I told you there's actually something else going on here? That Joey isn't an evil mastermind. That
What?
maybe Joey isn't even acting on his own accord. That Joey Graceffa is evil, but he's an evil pawn under the control of someone else in his own show.
So it's something like a puppet. He was being puppeteered by someone higher. Interesting.
Sure, in season 1 he invites a bunch of friends to a deadly dinner party, but we already know he was compelled to do that by a deep-seated evil that was working inside the house. And although he may have defeated the curse that was holding everyone inside the house, the bigger evil existed in the deed that he held on to. There was something else there the whole time. Something much bigger and much more dangerous than Joey. In the next go-around, the show sets it up that Joey and the gang are facing off against the evil sorceress, the big bad guy of the season. But if you actually pay attention in episode 3, we get a glimpse at the sorceress's backstory, and it tells us that we actually have much bigger things to be afraid of than just her.
The sorceress was once a peasant girl who made a deal with a cursed god for power.
She was once just a regular person, but then she made a deal with a cursed god who looks a little like a Cthulhu Squidward for power.
Squidward. I really like it that Matt Pat just include the SpongeBob SquarePants reference.
So when Joey says in episode 1,
I did not invite you here. This time, I had no part in inviting my friends. Someone set me up.
he's being manipulated by the evil forces of the cursed god. Joey, well yeah, some of his decisions have been a little questionable, is just a player in a much larger evil game. We get confirmation of this in episode 2, where we learn that the baddie of this season needs the evil that Joey carries in order to serve this higher cursed god.
The spell requires the evil Joey.
It does not say that. He's lying. The spell requires the evil Joey carried.
Okay.
Joey's name is randomly in the book, so we don't really know if he's hiding something or what's happening with the journal.
Again, Joey is just the low man on the evil totem pole. And this cursed god business isn't just a one-off thing for the season. It's clearly part of the established overarching lore for the entire series. Fast forward to season 3 and the cursed god comes up yet again. This time as the boss to the big baddie of that season, the Carnival Master. In episode 1, Colleen discovers a diary which contains our first and clearest mention of the Carnival Master's intentions.
The corrupted artifacts have given the power I needed to conform the people of this town
to vessels worthy
of being consumed by the cursed god.
Everything he's doing to the town of Everlock is all in service to some greater being, the same cursed god that possessed the sorceress back in season 2. Oh, and I of course missed all this deep lore going down during season 3, because at the same time this was going on, I was busy digging straight into a toilet full of turds.
The clues have been inside things. Maybe I need to start like squeezing the turds. Oh, I got it.
I feel like that's some kind of really apt metaphor for my life in general.
Okay, yeah, gaming theory, film theory, food theory, and then there's the
But we won't dwell on that. The end of season 3 features one of the team's mentors, Mortimer, suddenly turning on us in service of the Carnival Master. He, just like Joey throughout the series, has been manipulated by the overarching evil forces at work in this universe, and serves as yet another example of an otherwise decent person who's been used as a pawn by the cursed god. Nothing sums this up better than the Carnival Master himself at the end of season 3, where he explicitly says to Joey,
"They caught you into a war that's not yours."
Meaning that, at their best, the Society Against Evil is not super helpful, and at their worst, they're maybe kind of the bad guys too, and all of us are caught in the middle. So yeah, Joey might be acting out of his own best interests and at the expense of others, but he never wanted to be a part of this in the first place. There's a much bigger picture here, and from the looks of things, Joey's on a rocket to redemption in All-Stars Season 4, trying to redeem himself from what he's gotten caught up into in the last 3 seasons.
Never knew I had such good friends. What I want more than anything at this point is a way to make all the wrongs I did right.
And who?
That's a very strongly written, that's a very greatly written plot. Yeah, the story is telling us. Interesting.
Who knows? Maybe the big bad of this season will be the cursed god himself. Time to put a stop to the evil where it all began. So TLDW, Joey, definitely not the good guy of Escape the Night, but he's just a pawn in a much bigger game. Will he become a hero this season? Will he be able to save all the other YouTubers and their future AdSense revenue? I guess the only way to find out is to see where this next season goes. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. More accurately, a YouTube original theory. And cut. And hey, I had a blast being a part of Escape the Night Season 3. I made some of my best on and off YouTube friends through the connections that I made on that show.
It's an amazing collab.
When I said that this show is like the biggest YouTuber collab, I wasn't kidding. So if you want to check out the new season, a lot of my friends are returning for the All-Star season coming up. I may even make an appearance or 2 in there. You never know, keep an eye out. You can binge through all the other seasons on YouTube Premium right now. Go out there, check out my appearances, see me die, see me come back to life, and see me ultimately win it all. And then that way you're caught up for the new season that's going on this summer. So go for it. You know that I'm gonna be watching every new episode to cheer my friends on, and heck, make sure that I was proven right, because I'm pretty sure about this one. Joey, man, can't trust him as far as I can throw him. Based on that strongman competition in Season 3, it's obvious that I cannot throw things very far.
Well, it's quite interesting and quite fun actually to watch all these content creators work together to make something so cute and adorable and just fun to watch, entertaining and enjoyable as well. But anyways, if you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel and sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for my work. Thank you so much. It's very motivating and uplifting for me to continue making these videos with all your positivity involved. Thank you so much for your encouragement, and I hope to see you all in my next video. But hey, that's just a theory, a film theory, and cut. Well, thanks for watching. Thank you so much. Subscribe. Oh wait, I just thought this is the YouTube original. Sorry. But hey, that's just a theory, a YouTube original. Is it correct? Okay. Thanks for watching. Thank you. Oh gosh dang it, it's end cut. It's not thanks for watching, end cut. Alright, one last time, okay. But hey, that's just a theory, a film, YouTube original theory, and cut. Thanks for watching, thank you so much, and hope to see you all in my next video. Yes! 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 Bye bye. Thank you. Oh, finally. Oh my gosh, I messed up so much. I messed up so badly, you know. It's like end cut. Oh, sorry. Okay, 3 more videos. I swear this is really hot right now. Well, it's 5:37. By the time I finish this video, will be like 6 o'clock, and I still got 2 more videos to make. By the time I finish everything, will probably be like 6:30, earlier 6:30 lah. Let's see what other videos I have to make. This video is 19 minutes, 18 minutes. Gosh, 18 minutes. By the time I finish over at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. Oh my gosh, I need to get more rest after the facing jab. I feel very sleepy, tired. Hello everyone, it's me, and today, let's rule the world, King Disney! Of course, it's the Lion King lah, of course. Film theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Hello!
The YouTube channel that's doing more animation than Disney these days. Pew, pew, shots fired. Got him good. But in all seriousness, while we're over here keyframing until the cows come home, Disney, a company built on beautifully hand-drawn animated classics, is like, screw that noise, live action is where it's at. In 2019 alone, they're releasing four live-action remakes in the same year. We've already had Aladdin and Dumbo. Maleficent Mistress of Evil is coming later this year. And of course, there's the most recent one, the one I'm most excited for, The Lion King.
To be honest, I really like Aladdin, and I really like the Lion King as well. It's just awesome. Lion King and Aladdin. As for Mulan...
Why am I excited, you ask? Well, for one, it gives me the chance to revisit one of Shakespeare's it gives me the chance to revisit one of Japan's most it gives me the chance to revisit one of Disney's most original, most emotional stories.
Oh my god, that's a meme, the low face.
But also, I'm so hyped to see this new version of The Lion King because it's gonna have a different, far more epic, far more brutal ending. It's got
live action
too, right? I mean, since it was so important to remake The Lion King to be more realistic this time around, Disney must be making the responsible decision here to show us how this story would have really ended out there in the wild, which will make The Lion King 2019 one of Disney's darkest, bloodiest movies ever. Because when the dust settles in this movie, the lion standing on top of Pride Rock won't be Simba. Heck, might not even be Scar. So be prepared, my dear theorists. Today we're looking at what a more live-action version of The Lion King would really look like. And let me tell you, if you thought Mufasa's death was traumatizing as a child, prepare to have your childhoods shattered. You will never never be able to look at these movies the same way again. For today's theory, we're only going to be looking at the events of The Lion King. I know there are sequels and books covering what happens before and after the movie, but as you'll soon see, those are so horribly inaccurate that they'd never happen. So sorry, Lion King 2, Lion King: A Tale of Two Brothers, and Lion King 1.5, which sounds more like a bad Kingdom Hearts spin-off. You're all deader to me than Mufasa. So with that, let's give you the quick refresher so that you understand everything you need to know for today's theory. Our story begins with the birth of Simba, son of Pride Rock's current king, Mufasa. Simba grows up being groomed to be a wise, peaceful king, something that he just can't wait to be, but this youthful exuberance for monarchical authority gets on the nerves of his jealous uncle, Scar, a feline who just wants the throne for himself. One day, Scar tricks Simba into a gorge where he's rigged up a dangerous stampede. Big Papa Mufasa learns about the stampede scheme and rushes to save his son. He's successful, but he dies in the process. Scar betrays the bejesus out of Mufasa, leading to the saddest kids movie scene since Bambi's mom, and a lot of awkward post-movie conversations about why the big kitty cat couldn't wake himself back up. Scar convinces Simba that it's his fault, and Simba runs away to hang out with Timon and Pumbaa until he becomes a full-grown lion. Nala, Simba's childhood friend, finds Simba hanging out in the jungle and tries to convince him to come home. Turns out that Scar is a terrible king who's basically destroying the Pride Lands, and after talking to some clouds, Simba returns to fight Scar and wins. Simba and Nala feel the love tonight, if you know what I'm saying, and we end the movie where we began. New kid, new king-to-be, circle of life, and all that jazz. Roll credits.
Can you feel the love tonight? Let's keep it wholesome and family-friendly. Thank you so much.
Now, in the movie, we're led to believe that prides of lions just pass off dominance in the same way as a human monarchy. Male lions born from the king go on to take over the pride when the king passes away. However, in a more realistic story, like the one Disney's delivering us here in 2019, this couldn't be further from the truth. After researching how lions actually behave in the wild, I've come to learn that what would have really happened here is a far darker and far bloodier story. There is no Hakuna Matata in today's theory, my friends. Let's begin. To start off with, in order to understand the society of the lions we're talking about, we first have to understand what kind of lions Mufasa, Scar, and Simba actually are. I mean, this live-action remake portrays them as real lions, so they have to be based off of real animals somewhere along the line here, right? Well, surprisingly, it's actually easy to find out the exact subspecies of lion we're talking about.
Wait, you're trying to say that... Okay, so I might not actually know what I'm talking about, but you are trying to say that there are multiple different types of lion species? I genuinely only thought that there's like lions and lions... Okay, I'm stupid, I'm sorry, I'm stupid.
When researching for the film, the producers, director, and other lead crew took a trip to Hell's Gate National Park in Kenya, Africa. This would end up being what the entire film was based off of. Pride Rock, it's an actual real place in Hell's Gate. Being set in Kenya would make the lions we see in The Lion King the Panthera leomelanokaita, or East African lion. But we can get even more specific here. Let's look a bit closer at the character models for Scar and Simba. Notice these extra tufts of hair on their knee joints? This isn't just a little extra animation, this clearly identifies them as Maasai lions. So with that knowledge in hand, we can actually analyze what their society looks like and how, in nearly every way, Scar is genetically superior to Mufasa. You see, us humans view Mufasa with utmost respect and Scar as the villain because, well, he has a scar. That makes him evil. However, it turns out that choosy lionesses choose Scar. Look again at Mufasa, Scar, and Simba. We see the tufts of fur on both Scar and Simba's knees, but you'll notice that Mufasa is distinctly missing those exact same tufts. Now, while it may be extreme to call it a genetic defect, the fact that he can't grow that extra hair on his knees is our first hint that Mufasa is actually a genetically inferior male lion. Just like the fact that I'm incapable of growing a beard makes me, you know what, never mind, bad comparison. But it's less of what Mufasa doesn't have and more of what Scar does that matters. A beautiful dark mane. That again is not just an artistic choice to make Scar dark and brooding. According to research done at the University of Minnesota, don't you know, lions with dark manes are actually much more attractive to female lions than those with lighter manes. In the Lion Kingdom, dark manes are actually a sign of lions with higher testosterone levels.
Okay, wait, what? So you're trying to tell me that the king is supposed to be the bad guy of the movie? Interesting.
In a Nature.com article covering the study, quote, males with high levels of testosterone grow darker hair. These males may be more aggressive and therefore better at defending mates and cubs, end quote. This in turn gives their offspring a higher chance of survival, which in the animal kingdom is a big deal. I guess in any kingdom, that's kind of a big deal. No one really wants their children to die early horrific deaths, but you know, animals care a lot about this stuff. Furthermore, lions with more testosterone also tend to have longer reproductive lifespans, which means that Scar is going to be rockin' Pride Rock much longer than his brother. That's right, Scar is a literal sexy beast with those dark locks of his. Now, let me clear something up right here. Lion society does not function like a human monarchy like we see in the movie.
Alright, so lion society is different from a human society. Your human belief, your human principles is different from a lion's belief, a lion's principle. So yeah, I was gonna make a joke about the hot symbol. Rah rah Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. Sorry.
We're led to believe that since Simba is born of the current king, he's next in line to take the throne. That is just simply wrong. Simba was most likely gonna get himself booted out of the pride no matter what, dead dad or otherwise. When young male cubs approach full adult male status, they're actually exiled from the pride. Renowned National Geographic filmmaker Derek Joubert said in an article in Live Science, quote, when male lions begin to reach sexual maturity around age 2, the older males within the pride kick them out, end quote. Why would this be, you ask? One word, incest. Think about it. You're the king, and as a result, you're the one making most, if not all, of the babies. And so you're making all sorts of little lion cubs, male and female. Once your little Simba starts looking for a mate for himself, if they stick with the pride, there's a really high chance that they're gonna be related to the female lioness that they're starting to make googly eyes off of.
Alright, so when there's incest, when there's inbreeding involved, it's not going to turn well for the future generations involved. So yeah, I sort of understand why they try to avoid having direct inbreeding or direct incest.
Meaning the circle of life just got a whole lot more awkward. And if you're starting to see some problems with Simba and Nala's relationship now, congratulations, you just understood the concept. Can you feel the love tonight? I certainly can, but I don't wanna. To avoid these sorts of awkward run-ins, the young male lions are kicked out of the pride, where they go on to form small groups called coalitions. Quote from Luke Hunter, president of Panthera, which, based on the name, is either a big cat conservation or a feline-themed supervillain society. I'll leave it up to you to judge. Quote, after being kicked out, the young males roam the countryside solo or in small bands, often with their brothers or cousins, negotiating the no-cats land between territories of other lions. They usually do this as a coalition, end quote. These coalitions begin roaming around in search of territory or a pride they can take over. When a coalition finds an optimal pride, they may challenge the current reigning lions with a fight to the death. Usually, sometimes they retreat, but mostly it's to the death. If the coalition is successful, they then take over the pride and reign over it. So, how this would have really gone down prior to the events that we see in the movie is that a young Mufasa and a young Scar would have been part of one of these exiled coalitions. They would have come along the reigning lions at Pride Rock, defeated them, and taken over. Scar probably loses a battle of dominance against Mufasa the first time, which is why we see Mufasa as the reigning king, but comes back to challenge him a second time at the gorge, this time winning single-handedly, or I guess multi-hoofedly. Anyway, that makes Scar, who is already overflowing with testosterone, the rightful and best king for the pride. So in our more realistic interpretation of the movie, Scar wins and Simba still gets himself exiled, right? Doesn't this just mean that the movie continues on as normal? Well, yeah, if by exiled you mean eaten to death. See,
what the? Wait, what? You eat the children's of... Wait, how is that good for your own species? How is that... Okay, tell me more. I'm stupid on this fact. Please teach me more. Educates me.
There's something I haven't mentioned yet. When a new dominant lion takes over the pride, the first thing that they do as king is kill off all the children that aren't his. Ain't nobody got time to be a stepfather in the animal kingdom. Quote, when male lions take over a new territory, they almost always kill the pride's cubs, since they're not biologically related and don't want to spend energy ensuring that other lions' genes will be passed on, end quote. Oh sure, we all give Scar a hard time because he's going around killing kings and their kids, but prior to the events we see in the movie, the wise King Mufasa totally did the exact same things with the previous owners of Pride Rock. We just never saw any of it. Anyway, this all means that once Scar takes over the Pride, his first order of business would be killing every child that isn't his. Rip Nala, rip Simba, thank goodness there's no awkward incest, and all hail to the king, baby. But even if Simba managed to escape the literal jaws of death, he still wouldn't have returned to the Pride. Again, there's that whole inbreeding thing. Totally a bummer. Instead, he would have just left him far behind, formed a new coalition of male lions, and tried to find a new pride that he's not related to. Which means that when all is said and done, the final and true king of Pride Rock is none other than Scar himself. It turns out in this Disney movie, the villain would have been the winner. Almost. You see, as I mentioned during the recap at the beginning, Scar ends up being a terrible king. He lets other predators, the hyenas, take over the Pride Lands. He depletes the food resources. And I'm not seeing any new cubs, if you catch my drift.
Oh, as a guy, you can't say that you can't. As a guy, ouch.
He is terrible as the dominant lion. In the movie, we see the lionesses bow to every whim Scar has, but in real life, lionesses are far more woke to their own power. Let's just say you should never get on a lioness's bad side. Though it doesn't happen often, lionesses have been known to attack the dominant male lion, especially when it comes to issues around food. Take this example from West Midlands Safari Park last September, where a male lion named Jelani was viciously attacked by the lionesses he was dominating. In the statement made by the park, they said, quote, "A dispute happened between Jelani and a female lion over some meat. Jelani and his two brothers usually stick together and are able to keep the lionesses in order, but on this occasion, the other females became involved first. Lions are very tough animals, and disputes similar to this are common in the wild." And
very common.
Disputes over food, you say? Well, what do we see in The Lion King? Scar hoarding food and giving it to the hyenas before he gives it to his female lionesses. This would have never stood in the wild. The moment the lionesses saw that he was hoarding the food, they would have killed Scar before the hyenas even had the chance.
True. If you are being a bad leader and the females can just you, maybe you can take on 1 or 2. But if 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, boom, all the females appear and you're not getting away.
Hashtag girl power. With Scar dead and the territory devoid of food sources, the Pride would have been disbanded, leaving Pride Rock in ruin. So, there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Literally one versus many, the one will fail.
The real story of The Lion King. So I challenge you, dear theorists, just try to watch Lion King the same way again. This time knowing that Mufasa is a kingslayer and child murderer just like Scar, that Simba is either feeling the love tonight with his sister or is just dead before he can say Hakuna Matata. Scar was right all along, but then due to mismanagement would have been killed by his own female subjects, leaving Pride Rock abandoned. In an ironic twist, the circle of life in this movie really breaks down. But hey, that's just a theory.
I killed the king and it looks like
a film theory. And cut.
Wow. The more you know, I guess. To be honest, I really learned a lot from this video. I'm gonna do some research on it soon, but it's a good indicator that I really have a lot to be educated on. Stay humble and stay passionate to learn more. Thank you so much. I hope that you learned a lot from this video together with me as well. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Sincerely appreciate all of the support and encouragement for my videos. And if you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And comment down below if you have any advice down below. If you do like this video, please remember to follow my channel and hope to see you all in my next video. But hey, that's just a theory, a film theory, and cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye! Once again, I'm sincerely appreciative, genuinely, honestly, truly grateful and thankful for all your support and positivity. Thank you so much. Hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye! Alright, the 2 more videos. 2 more long videos. Goodness. Oh, this is Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
Okay, so I've got some title ideas.
Okay. Oh gosh. Flash Thompson.
Okay.
How should I name this? Hello everyone, it's me. And today, Spider-Man. I can't wait for it to have like a Spider-Man. There's Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, and then there is the Amazing Spider-Man 1, Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then there is Spider-Man's Homecoming, Spider-Man's Far From Home, Spider-Man No Way Home. So all the other Spider-Mans, IRL Spider-Mans, all have 3 movies, except for Andrew Garfield. And I genuinely want to see a trilogy. I want to see a conclusion for Andrew Garfield. And I really want to see it. I just want to see it, you know, like a conclusion. Yeah. Like I started. Pew pew pew! Hello everyone, it's me, and today, Spider-Man No Way Home. It's MadPat's 2019 theory. Let's take a look.
Okay, so I've got some title ideas for the next Spider-Man film. That's great. Can't wait to hear them. Well, you know how everyone features some play on the word home? I think these are gonna be right on brand.
Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home.
Then go on, let's hear them. Picture this, Spider-Man Home Wrecker, where Peter cheats on MJ. Oh wow, well that's upsetting because they just got together, and they're not married, and they don't have a home. I hear you loud and clear. How about this? Spider-Man Homebound. Peter Parker develops terrible agoraphobia. Pretty hard to fight crime when you won't leave the house. People know who he is now. Maybe it makes him nervous.
Or maybe Doctor Strange can...
Well, I guess that makes sense. What else were you thinking? How about this one then? Spider-Man Home on the Range. It's a Western. Gunslinger meets web slinger. Ooh, dangerous and sticky. I like it. All right, well, how about you try this one on for size?
Red blood.
Spider-Man Home Alone, where instead of using his spider powers, he instead sets creative traps using everyday household objects. Eat paint can, Hobgoblin. Oh, and then finally we have one that I know you're gonna love. Spider-Man Home for the Holidays, a non-denominational celebration for the entire family. Well, I'm sold. Call up the boys. We've got ourselves something to announce at Comic-Con.
Okay.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory!
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory! Hello! Let's get started on MadPat's theory. Not exactly the best, but
using our theorist tingle to dispel all of Mysterio's illusions. And let me tell ya, between fake restaurants, fake Mysterios, and fake Nick Furies, I was tingling all over the place while I was watching Far From Home.
Fake news!
Probably should get that one checked out by a doctor. But seriously, I felt like I couldn't trust anything. The ushers were in there trying to pry me out of my seat, and I'm like, no! I feel the barf drones around me. You're all just trying to make me think the movie's over, but we're still somewhere in Act 2. Long story short, I'm not allowed in that theater again. On the plus side, I left Far From Home with a heck of a lot of theory fodder. So today I'm tackling a theory that is so speculative, it's more hypothesis than theory. I know, blasphemy. But coming...
Alright, so instead of it becoming film theory, it's becoming film speculations, film fodder.
Out of the theater, I couldn't get out my
film hypothesis
head, and I thought it was a cool topic to talk about on the series. You see, the most important part of Far From Home isn't so much what's in the movie, it's instead what's coming after the movie. Far From Home isn't just another step in Marvel's stairway to box office heaven. It's clear that this movie is acting as an inflection point between where we've been and where we're going. A gateway to the post-Endgame era of Marvel, where everything is suddenly being called into question, from your leadership to your very identity. And
because after 5 years of everybody disappearing, literally half of everybody disappearing, what are the ramifications of it to society on Earth?
As a part of that, I'm here today to predict Spider-Man's next major role in all of it. Because at this point, the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies have tipped their hand just a bit too far. I think they've revealed just a wee bit too much. And as a result, I have a solid hypothesis as to where things are headed for the old webhead in the next feature film.
Which may or may not be accurate, but it's a good guess. It's a good try. So let's support MadPat on it.
So book your tickets now, ladies and gentlemen, because Spider-Man's next opponent will be a massive showdown with the Sinister Six.
Not necessarily six, but...
For those of you who might not be familiar, the Sinister Six is a team consisting of a number of Spider-Man's nastiest villains. Can you guess how many? Usually a massive team-up of supervillains would be something that would develop pretty late into a comic's career as they figured out how to come up with new, exciting storylines for the same character. But when it comes to the Sinister Six, their beginnings actually start as far back as the beginning of Spider-Man comics themselves, back in 1963. And since that time, there have been no less than 24 different versions, which have had names like the Sinister Six, the Sinister Seven, the Sinister 12, the Superior Six, the Hexagon of Haters, the Six Most Sinister, and the Six Men of Sinistry. That Hexagon one was a joke, by the way, but it's not like you could tell, right? This group's gone through more reboots than the Spider-Man movies have. But in all seriousness, me standing here as my virtual cutout saying that the films are gonna feature Spider-Man's most iconic villain group probably isn't gonna be...
Oh, just like you did mention a slight Easter egg that maybe the other two Spider-Mans
setting the world on fire. So instead, let's get even more specific by picking out who exactly those 6 characters are gonna be. That would be a little bit more impressive, right? I mean, I need to do a lot of making up for past failed prediction theories, so nailing the 6 major villains for Peter P's next outing in a movie that hasn't even been announced yet would be tight. Over the course of Marvel history, there...
Alright, so I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt because I already seen the movie. So yeah, if he can get at least like 3 out of 6, that's a 50%, I'll give them a pass score. If it's like 4 out of 6, it's a great movie, it's a great theory. So what will it be? Interesting.
There have been over 40 members of the Sinister Six, which leaves us with a lot of villain options to slot into the group. It's like the popular frat of the comics. Everyone's rushing to get in. Luckily, I don't need to rely on my usual prediction methods. There have been plenty of solid hints sprinkled.
That's a very inaccurate form of predictions. Yeah.
throughout the series. If we rewind back to Homecoming, by the end of that film, we've already met 50% of the crew who will be heading up this new version of the Sinister Six. The first and most obvious inclusion is Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture, who may have been kind enough to preserve Spidey's secret identity in prison.
If I knew who he was, he'd already be dead.
But now that the whole world knows the truth, all bets are off. Toomes has got himself an axe to grind. It's also worth noting that the Vulture is an OG member of the Sinister Six. The original 7 iterations of this group all featured the Vulture prominently, so not including him when he's already an established part of this cinematic universe would be a big surprise. And that's not all. In
then I'm gonna say, surprise! I'm sorry, MatPat.
Vulture's crew.
Second guess?
We have ourselves a brief passing reference to yet another classic Spider-Man villain, the Shocker. In the MCU, Shocker isn't much of a supervillain, but instead he's just a sucky salesman who fires off Vulture's illegal rockets in public and attracts the attention of Spider-Man, which in turn makes Vulture realize that old Sparky is too much of a liability and needs to be let go in the most violent way possible. Well, initially it looks like Vulture's just turned the Sinister Six into the Fearsome Five. He quickly replaces Shocker with a new Shocker, quite explicitly passing the torch.
So literally eliminate one Shocker, you get another Shocker. Wow, what a shocker! What the hell am I doing?
Yeah. Now you're the Shocker.
I don't think that's just a throwaway line there, friends. It's brief, and it's one that's easy to write off as just a tongue-in-cheek Easter egg, but remember, we saw a similar series of events become the major plot twist in Far From Home, where a bunch of smaller characters that had been set up via past movies suddenly emerged to the forefront to become major players. So the Shocker having a similar reveal in the third Spider-Man movie? Oh yeah, it is definitely precedented. And not only that, but Shocker is indeed a canonical member of the Sinister Six in the comics. I mean, practically everyone is, but still, he's there, usually as a member of the expanded Sinisters, like the Sinister 7 and the Sinister 66. You heard that right, 66. Here I thought Infinity War had a lot of characters. So anyway, that is 2 villains right there in the first movie, but we can keep going. There are a couple other tertiary villains that we see running in Vulture's crew, but I'm more hesitant to count on these guys because they rarely appear in the Sinister Six.
True, the Tinkerer as well.
They just don't have the same level of name appeal. Specifically, I'm referring to the Prowler, played in Homecoming by the childish Gambino himself, Donald Glover, and the Tinkerer, who is worth the mention because, well, if I didn't, you guys would light me up in the comments thinking I missed him. I didn't, he just isn't interesting enough to make the official counted squad here. Which then, of course, brings us to the end of Homecoming. Here, the Vulture goes to prison and meets Mac Gargan. If that name doesn't ring a bell, the tattoo on his neck certainly should. A scorpion. Looks like Mac is carrying on the grand tradition of arthropods in this franchise by taking the role of the Scorpion, a guy who traditionally has a giant tail that shoots acid. How the more technology-centric films will make this attack strategy less awkward is up for debate, but there's no doubt that he's going to be joining forces with Toomes.
Okay, so... yeah, sorry, MatPat. Sorry times 2, sorry times 3.
In just his brief scene alone, it's immediately established that he's also after Spider-Man and wants to team up. So to recap, at the start of Far From Home, we know that both these baddies are still in prison together, and the new Shocker is still floating around out there somewhere too, giving us a solid lead on at least 3 out of 6 Sinisters. Let's see who else is gonna surface in Far From Home. In the beginning of the new movie, Peter and his friends just got themselves blipped out of existence for 5 years by Thanos. The very fabric of reality's been shaken. Whoopsie!
Oopsie, I'm sorry, but you must understand that I am inevitable.
No worries, the Avengers figured out that pesky time travel business and now everything is back to normal. With everyone now completely acclimated to aliens and magic and Tony Stark destroying huge sections of major cities, it turns out to be the perfect place for Mysterio to enter the fray. With the world willing to believe literally anything at this point, Quentin Beck and his organization of background players from all the past movies decide to create their own superhero. A soldier from another universe, Mysterio. And if there was ever a superhero villain perfect for the internet age, this guy is it. He's fake, he only does things for the clout, his entire reputation depends on everything being on video because if there was indeed a true Avengers level threat, Mysterio would just be flat out useless. In short,
Mysterio's gonna kiss my arrow.
Mysterio would just make a great YouTuber. That would be funny if it wasn't completely depressing. Anyway.
Oh my gosh! If you think about it, a fake YouTuber. Ouch, it hurts.
Chalk Mysterio up as another core member of our new sisterhood of the Traveling Sinisters.
Not just a fake YouTuber, a disastrous fake YouTuber who will cause literal crisis as collateral damage. No, don't do that. It's horrible.
Now, I know the first thing you're gonna say, but we saw Mysterio die at the end of Far From Home, which, yes, is absolutely true. I totally think Quentin Beck is dead, despite my best efforts in researching for this episode to prove otherwise. But in Far From Home, we're very clearly shown a shot of his team taking the computers and drives that retain all of Mysterio's files. I mean, think about it. They were pulling the Mysterio shtick before they got control of Edith. Edith just enabled them to do it at a bigger scale. And throughout the movie, they very intentionally show Quentin Beck and Mysterio separately. Mysterio is just a projection, a drone of what this superhero suit looks like. So not only can Mysterio come back, that sort of plotline is also canon in the source material. Mysterio's original plot in the early days of the Spider-Man comics, starting back in issue 13, is pretending to be a good guy, exposing Spider-Man's true identity to J. Jonah Jameson, and then faking his own death, which, wouldn't you know it, all happen to be the key beats we see him do in Far From Home. So we should consider staying true to his comic book origins and remember that he was also an OG alum of the Sinister Six, taking part in the first 5 iterations of the group, taking a break for 6 and 7, and then coming back strong in 8 and 10, meaning that Mysterio is taking up our slot number 4.
Okay. I'm sorry, Matt Pats. I'm sorry, Matt Pats. Once more, I'm sorry, Matt Pats. I'm sorry, Matt Pats.
Now, from here, our job gets a little harder, because we have to get to villains that we haven't directly seen yet, but ones that I think the movies are definitely setting us up for. The first open slot I think will take advantage of Marvel's newest playthings, the Skrulls. Captain Marvel was keen on showing off the Skrulls and how well they're able to infiltrate the ranks of normal humans, but it was odd to see them also show up in Far From Home, a story they seem pretty disconnected from. Why would Marvel be showing us this now, at this point in the movies? Well, I think it boils down to 2 reasons, both of which go back to that inflection point I was talking about at the beginning of the episode. First, they know that Spider-Man is and will always be their biggest hero. He's Marvel's equivalent of Batman. I mean, sure, Iron Man was big for the movies, but Spider-Man is just iconic.
I agree with you, it's super iconic, with Spider-Man, with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and with the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, and now with the Tom Holland Spider-Man. And don't forget there's the Spider-Verse, which is just super iconic. And yeah, it's just a wonderful character that everybody can be, because he's covered up to down, so I can just wear a mask and I'm Spider-Man! And Agent Spider-Man.
He was big before the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yes!
He was big before Iron Man really changed the superhero scene. So if the Skrulls are gonna play a big role in the future of the MCU, they need to be introduced to mainstream audiences who may not have seen Captain Marvel through a more mainstream movie, a Spider-Man movie. So there's your reason 1. But there is a second and more relevant reason that applies to our theory today. You see, there just so happens to be a Spider-Man villain with a very Skrull-like power set, the Chameleon. He's a shapeshifter who's able to disguise himself behind the face of whoever he wants. In fact, the Chameleon was Spider-Man's first ever villain, introduced in Spider-Man #1 way back in 1963, and barring some fan theories, he's never actually appeared on the big screen before, which leaves the pathway totally open to bringing him in via shapeshifters that we already know exist in this universe, the Skrulls. So all you would need to slot him into the Sinisters is a Skrull gone rogue, one with a chip on their scaly green shoulder. That's not just speculation. We may already have him identified. Many fans believe they've already spotted this guy in the MCU right here, the guard who's sent to surveil Peter while he's in Europe. It's a small detail, but his name is Dmitry, and wouldn't you know it, but that exact name, Dmitry Smirnikov, is the exact identity of the Chameleon in the comics.
Okay, Matt, I'm gonna stop you right there. Maybe you're thinking about it too much. I'm sorry, but I'm a huge fan of yours. Maybe you're thinking too much about it, too much speculation. Too much hypothesis. It's a small character, come on, it's a small character.
Give this man a pledge pin, ladies and gentlemen. He is our number 5, which leaves us with one last slot to fill. And honestly, it could go in any number of really cool directions. When it comes to the Spider-Man movies thus far, the MCU has had a habit of tricking us. They know we know these stories and characters. That's what happens when a hero gets rebooted so frequently in such a short amount of time.
Alright, so maybe just get one correct. 1 out of 6 is better than nothing, right? Let's go, 1 off correct. One
So to
correct.
keep us off balance, they're, to borrow a phrase from the show that must not be named, subverting expectation.
Thrones, GOT.
They're reinventing or reimagining the good and bad guys in ways that we don't expect to keep everything fresh and new. Aunt May isn't old. MJ doesn't stand for Mary Jane. And Peter's biggest bully, Flash, isn't a typical jock, he's just an even bigger nerd. In much the same way, there are villains creeping around here that we may not
I'm Peter Parker's best friend.
even see coming. For example, you remember one of Peter's relatively unmemorable teachers back in Homecoming? Well, her name is Mrs. Warren, which could be a name picked totally at random, or it could be that she's a reimagined version of Miles Warren, Peter's biology professor starting in Spider-Man 148, who ends up becoming one of the Sinister Six villains, the Jackal.
Or maybe you are thinking about it too much.
Villain, mind you, who goes on to clone Peter, his dead girlfriend, and his dead parents in a plotline that wasn't super well received by comic fans, but still, she's there and waiting to be swiped right on, so go ahead, Sinister Six, take a chance. It's also been pointed out by others that Spider-Man's been seen battling the Manfredi crime family, leading us to believe that the comic book villain Silvermane, who's associated with that family in the comics, may also be floating around along with a whole slew of his accomplices. There are plenty of other Easter eggs like these, and they might materialize down the line, but here's the thing. None of these guys are cutting the mustard for me. Up until now, everyone we've talked about we've either seen before, like Mysterio or Vulture, or is just a backup player, like Shocker or Chameleon. We need a big name. We need a major player. The Sinister Six needs its new lead singer, its headliner. We need ourselves either Doc Ock or, more likely, the Green Goblin.
I like the way this is going. I like the way this is going. Tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me more.
And of the two, I think the Green Goblin is all set up and ready to roll out.
Why not both?
Not only is the Green Goblin one of the most frequent members of the Sinister Six, but because the Goblin is usually a member of the Osborn family, who are tech billionaires just like Tony Stark, they tend to have ties to most of the other villains in the comics, and likewise in the new cinematic universe where technology is fueling a lot of these characters' powers, they would have connections in that realm too. The Osborn technology would help supplement what the Vulture's doing. The Osborn technology would help supplement the Mysterio gang. The Osborn technology would help make the Shocker stronger.
And the Osborn. I am somewhat of a I'm sorry. I'm somewhat of a scientist myself.
But now let's go back to something I said earlier about
the power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
Subverting expectations. Remember Flash, the nerd bully? He is very clearly being set up for a future plotline. Throughout the movie, there's this ongoing thread about his relationship with his parents, a weird text message thread with them, and that one scene when they return home and he's met by their driver. In both scenes, Flash is being ignored by his parents. They're absent. They've forgotten about him. It's also clear that they have a very formal relationship, with Flash having to call them father and mother. It's very similar to the way that Harry Osborn reacts with his father Norman Osborn in most other Spider-Man stories.
Why is it so formal? Why not just call them Papa, Daddy, Oppa? No, Oppa cannot. Oppa cannot. Oppa is more towards brother. Or unless... Let's not go there. Let's keep it wholesome, family friendly. I'm sorry.
Including the Sam Raimi movies.
Peter, may I introduce my father, Norman Osborn?
Flash's family is also very rich.
Technically, this is my dad's car, sir.
Just like the Osborns. Heck, it's even been suggested that those super rich Osborns are busy building Oscorp's new headquarters in the old Avengers building, which you can see being constructed in Far From Home. But I know what you're thinking. He's Flash Thompson. He's not an Osborn. And you know what? that's just what I thought too. That's what literally every fan wiki online says, but it seems like literally everyone has been jumping to conclusions here, because at no point in the movies do we ever hear Flash's last name. He is never once called Flash Thompson. Not once. It is always only Flash.
Matt?
Even right here in the credits, he's only listed as Flash.
Matt, seriously, you might want to stop.
That right there is our smoking gun.
Stop, Matt, stop, just listen.
Loyal theorists, the big twist, the way our expectations are gonna end up being subverted in the next Spider-Man movie is that Flash's last name is gonna be revealed as Osborn.
Matt!
What? I'm building up a good flow here. You're throwing off my dramatic reveal.
Well, here's a more dramatic reveal for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's not in the script or the credits, but...
Yeah.
Well, why didn't you tell me earlier? Because even if he is Flash Thompson, there's a very real chance that he could have been just adopted by the Osborns. That sort of angle would have support from the comics. In the story, Norman Osborn takes Flash under his wing, gives Flash a job, makes him feel like part of the family, and ultimately turns him against Spider-Man, who he was formerly idolizing, just like we see Flash idolizing Spider-Man in Far From Home. So there you have it, friends. We got ourselves our 6 villains: Vulture, Shocker, Scorpion, Chameleon, Mysterio, and Green Goblin, all set and ready to go. But to close things out here...
Okay, so 1 out of 6 is not that bad, but the character playing the Green Goblin...
I think I'll put myself even further out on a limb. I think it's worth pointing out that there's one villain in this group who is different than all the others: Vulture. Vulture is very clearly established to be a family man.
I built this whole place because I got people I have to look after.
He's not about world domination or being a renowned superhero. Heck, he doesn't even want to attract the attention of the Avengers.
If you bring damage control or the Avengers down here, we're through.
He's not in it for the clout like Mysterio. He's not in it for revenge. He's only in it to take care of his wife and his daughter. The same daughter who Spider-Man saved at the end of Homecoming, and who then went on to rescue Vulture himself during the final battle. We already know that Vulture wouldn't give up Peter Parker's identity to Scorpion, and we know he has at least half a dozen opportunities to finish him off during that final confrontation and doesn't. So when faced with the option of teaming up alongside a bunch of villains who are bent on world domination, well, he might initially go along for the ride. It's my prediction that Vulture will instead defect, to instead protect someone who shares his values and goals, someone who still appreciates helping out the little guy.
True, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It's a cool concept, but different character becoming. Maybe you can try someone with a lot of hands, a lot of water. Get it?
The local neighborhood. In the end, Vulture is gonna be the one to end up protecting Spider-Man against the rest of the Sinister Six. Anyway, that is more than enough speculation and fan fiction for the day. I mean, I'm already trying to make calls on a movie that hasn't even been announced to exist yet. Let me slow my roll a little here.
Home run! Baseball.
Regardless of how it all plays out, I'm excited for this 3rd installment in the Spider-Man franchise. I actually love these movies. They're some of my favorite in the MCU, and whether you agree or not, I hope you liked watching and theorizing about where things go next, because it's a superhero movie. It's all just for fun, just like this is all just a theory. A film theory. And if you want to see more Spider-Man content, check out this video on the left where I analyze the physics of Spider-Man's deadly web slinging. It turns out that Spider-Man should have died multiple times over, regardless of his super strength. Or while you're here, make sure you click the button on the right to subscribe. I've got an upcoming theory on which Spider-Man would win in a battle royale of Spider-Man. Make your predictions now, friends. That theory is coming up in the near future. And with that, I'm off. Next week, let's take a break from superheroes, shall we?
Alright, sure. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video together with me. I hope that you find this video very interesting and very awesome to watch. It's quite unique and special to see MatPat trying to make this sort of theories beforehand, before it's even shot in the first place. But still, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have not watched the movie Spider-Man No Way Home, it's an awesome movie, paying respect to the past 3 generations of Spider-Mans. Yeah, if you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have anything to share with us down below. Don't forget to follow my channel, and I sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for my work. Thank you all so much. You are all the best. for being so positive and wholesome to it. But hey, that's just a theory, a film theory, and cards. Thank you. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye! Let's Scooby-Doo this! Once again, I strongly recommend all of you to watch the third Spider-Man No Way Home. It really pays respect to the previous 2 generations of Spider-Mans. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, and Tom Holland Spider-Man. Yeah, so Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3. Yeah. Subscribe. Alright, one last video. This is a video that it's very long. It's a very long video. I'm glad I did it, but yeah, it's super long.
Return to the continuing
adventure. This is 18 minutes. Gosh, 18 minutes video. My computer is super hot right now. Everything is just stuffy and hot. Because I can't on the fan, air conditioning, I can't just on everything because of the sound. This thing is just not the best. Gosh. And also this exhaust, if I place it closer, you can hear the exhaust. You'll still hear the exhaust no matter what. Gosh, I'm sorry. Anyways, let's get started. Let's get started. Okay, hello everyone, it's me, and today我手拿流星弯月刀，喊着响亮的口号，前方何人报上名 ？Hello everyone, it's me, and today Spider-Man! Yeah! One more time. Damn it, something. No, never mind. Spider-Man! Yeah! Hello everyone, it's me! And today, Spider-Man! Are you ready for the death battle?
We now return to the continuing adventures of Theory Man!
Help! You stole my purse!
Can't help you there, but did you know that Ant-Man could have saved half the universe by crawling up Thanos' anus?
Oh, thanks.
Theory Man, away! Once again, the day has been saved. Thank you, Theory Man.
But her purse.
Thank you. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory. Hello.
Where today we've got an episode that's sure to get all your Peters tingling. For
Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, Peter 2, Peter 1, Peter 3.
2 decades, we've been inundated with Spider-Man. Films, series, video games, and oh so many memes. This summer's release of Spider-Man Far From Home gives us our 3rd live-action Spider-Man movie franchise in just 17 years. So as our universe, not to mention the rest of the multiverse, approaches
616.
Spidey saturation, it's time to figure out once and for all who wins the Spider-Man Battle Royale. Which Spidey reigns supreme? First, let's set our ground rules and clarify what this video is and what it is not. This is a comparison of the observable, measurable spider powers demonstrated on screen by our beloved webhead. Only the theatrically released feature-length Spider-Man films will be considered. This is not a popularity contest, nor is it a best actor contest, nor is it a best hair contest, because let's be honest, that one is no contest at all. Andrew Garfield, you have got yourself some remarkable hair. And what we're answering today is actually pretty darn simple. Which Spidey would win in a head-to-head fight? 3 franchises, 3 Spider-Mans.
One in the 40s, one in the 30s, and one in the 20s.
Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker in Mark Webb's The Amazing Spider-Man franchise, and now Tom Holland as the MCU's golden boy, Peter Parker. In our theoretical battle royale, everyone is gonna fight in their standard costume. That means Tobey Maguire's character doesn't have to fight in his homemade human spider costume, but he
doesn't have the Venom suit.
He also doesn't get the black symbiote suit either. Likewise, Tom Holland's Spider-Man doesn't have to wear his homemade costume, but he
also cannot get the Tony Stark upgraded Spider-Man suit, Iron Spider.
He's also not going to get access to the Iron Spider suit or Stealth Spider suit featured in Far From Home.
True. Like this spells in like a new car in here.
The goal here is to eliminate as many variables as possible so we can judge them based purely on their spider manliness alone. Our Spider-Man will be judged across 3 categories: strength, web, and agility, which necessarily takes spider sense into consideration. From those 3 categories, which ideally are boiling down the essentials of any good Spider-Man in battle situations,
the spider sense or the Peter Tinkle,
we'll be able to determine which Spider-Man reigns supreme. Round 1, strength. This one is actually a pretty straightforward category because the films give us really clear data to work with. It's actually incredible. It's kinda nice not to have to like backdoor our way into these things for a change. All 3 of our Spider-Men in their respective films basically do the equivalent of the Hercules hold from the World's Strongest Man competition.
True, all 3 of them are just really awesome individuals who I really respect, save everyone.
Tobey with a speeding train, Tom with a ferry that's been sliced in half, and Andrew with a car dangling off a bridge. So which super impressive feat is the most super impressive? In the immortal words of Olivia Newton-John, or more accurately for our case, in the immortal words of Newton, Sir Isaac, let's get physicsal.
Let's get physical.
Associate Professor Michael Milford and research fellow Juxie Leitner of Queensland University of Technology tackled the Hercules hold moment from Spider-Man Homecoming, determining that Tom Holland's character applied a force of over 31 million newtons in order to keep that ferry together, which he managed to do single-handedly for about 6 seconds before Iron Man eventually came and bailed him out. Now, that is a lot of newtons, but is it more impressive than Tobey Maguire's famous train-stopping scene from Spider-Man 2? To determine how many newtons Tobey's character applied, let's check in with Newton's second law of motion, shall we? Which tells us that the force exerted by Spider-Man is equal to the mass of the train times the rate at which he brings the train to stop.
So the legendary Newton law, FMA, F equals MA, FMA.
A New York City subway car weighs in at about 33,000 kilograms, and the train in this scene actually has itself 6 cars. Shots inside the cars suggest that the train is about half capacity, meaning that the weight of the 6 cars plus the weight of the passengers inside is going to be approximately 241,578 kilograms in total.
I really like it that MapPad included both kg and lbs, so that people who uses the different SI units will be able to understand. Thank you so much, MapPad.
So that, my friends, is our mass. As for our acceleration, or in this case, deceleration, we see Tobey's character bringing the train from exactly 80 miles per hour to 0 miles per hour in 47 seconds. That means that the rate of deceleration is going to be 0.752 meters per second squared. Plug them into the formula and we get ourselves 182,000 newtons of force.
Yes, literally superhuman kind of strength. Of course it's Spider-Man now, but awesome.
Which is way less than what Tom Holland's Spider-Man had to exert. I mean, let's give Tobey's character some credit for pushing his body to the limits for 47 grueling seconds compared to Tom Holland's relatively breezy 6 seconds, but there is no way around it. Tom Holland's Spider-Man exerted over 170 times as much force in his Hercules hold. Tom's Spider-Man is definitely the stronger of these two, so where does Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man fit in? At a glance, holding a 2011 Chrysler Town & Country as it dangles over a bridge doesn't seem quite as impressive as stopping a train, and would you know it, it's not. The Town & Country has a curb weight of 4,652 pounds, but let's call it an even 4,800, with a kid inside plus whatever personal items the family might have in the trunk. Andrew's character is pulling directly against the direction of gravity, so we can easily use Newton's second law of motion once again to determine the force involved in Andrew's Hercules hold.
9.81 meter per second square, Earth's gravity on average.
Comes out to be roughly 21,000 newtons. Now,
it's awesome, but in comparison to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Tom Holland's Spider-Man,
that is a far cry from the force Tom and Toby were exerting. Plus, Andrew's grip eventually gives out after just 40 seconds. Get good, Andrew Garfield. So Tom Holland and the MCU Spider-Man wins the strength category in a landslide. He gets himself 3 points, Toby gets 2 points for second place, and Andrew gets 1 point for last place, but a point in my heart for that beautiful hair. Next up, webbing. Not only is it Spider-Man's weapon of choice, it's also his mode of transportation. So webs are gonna play a huge role in any Spider-Man versus Spider-Man fight. Which of our 3 Spider-Man has the best, most versatile, strongest web? Spoiler alert, it's Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and it's not even close. Spider-Man in the MCU has the Tony Stark advantage when it comes to webbing. 576 preloaded web shooter combinations. Sticky web, ricochet web, taser web, stun web, spider tracers, rapid fire, web grenades, web wings. Web wings!
Literally hundreds of different usages by a Spider-Man. Yeah, so he won. Practically, he won.
People, there is no two ways around this one. Tom's character wins the web war, and he has the Tony Stark to thank for it.
But the question is, what happened to Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man? Who is number 2 and who is number 3?
So now it's just a battle for runner-up position. Andrew Garfield's webbing is also man-made. The downside to this, though, is that he can potentially run out of web fluid or get separated from his web shooters while in battle. The upside is that
yeah, that happens. That happens. He even recognizes it's a hassle, you know, have to make it in the lab.
To tweak his web formula and make it impervious to electricity, for example. However, it's tough to imagine electricity playing a major role in a Spider-Man versus Spider-Man fight, so who knows how beneficial this improvement that we see in the movies would actually be for our purposes in today's episode. In Toby's case, meanwhile, his webbing is created in vivo. He's not able to manipulate his organic webbing, but on the plus side, he's never gonna run out.
Yes, it's like breathing. I don't do breathing, I just do it. Yeah, it's like wet blood. Yeah, something like that. Something similar to that.
Except on the rare occasions when he's like, you know, super sad and stuff. But
existential crisis.
As impressive as Toby's train scene is as a demonstration of his strength, it might be an even more impressive demonstration for his webbing. His web's strength, stick, and elasticity are all on full display in a way that Andrew Garfield's web never is in the Amazing Spider-Man films. And if Andrew's Peter Parker had made more elastic webbing, maybe Gwen Stacy would have had herself a smoother landing at the end of the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh! Ouch! Matt, that's going way too far, man. That is way too far. Come on, man. Oh gosh, haven't Andrew Garfield been through enough? But still, having said that, right, I have to agree with you, Matt. With No Way Home, he sort of redeemed himself by saving Tom Holland's Spider-Man's MJ, even though he lost his. Sorry.
So Tom Holland wins the webbing category hands down and receives himself another 3 points. Gotta give second place to Tobey Maguire for that organic, unlimited webbing that's pretty much the equivalent of real spider silk, which yet again leaves Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man once again in the final position. Looks like Tom's running away with this thing, but not so fast. There is one final category to discuss, agility. We'll use agility as a catch-all category for Spider-Man's nimbleness, speed, and reaction time, of which Spider Sense is a major part. First, let's acknowledge a couple agility similarities between our 3 Spider-Men. All 3 seem more or less capable of avoiding bullet sprays, and all 3 Peter Parkers have similar foot speed. Trust me, I went through their running footage frame by frame, and they're all just within a few miles per hour of each other.
So yeah, that's how much effort that MatPat makes into all of his videos. Respect to that, but do you seriously have to go through that detailed?
nothing so major that it merits mentioning here. But reaction time is where the Spider-Man really start to differentiate themselves, because not all spider senses are created equally. Let's start off by acknowledging that all three Peter Parkers have sporadic use of their spider sense, at best. They all appear to have a grasp on it for only a fraction of the time, resulting in them getting surprised by things like this, and this, and this. But when they are wielding their spider sense, it's a metric we can totally use for comparison. In the first
True, their spider sense, Peter Tinkle.
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film, there's a really useful sequence where we see his spider sense in action from Peter Parker's point of view. The fly in particular is helpful because we know a housefly beats its wings at about 200 times per second. From Peter Parker's point of view, that fly is flapping its wings 2 times in 2.625 seconds, meaning his spider sense is helping him see the world about 260 times slower than real time.
That's a very incredible ratio.
As for Tom Holland's character, there is very little evidence that his spider sense, or Peter Tingle, is very useful as it relates to reaction time at all. For instance, in Infinity War, his spider sense only tingles after Thanos' ship has already arrived at planet Earth, at a point where any normal kid on the bus could have glanced out the window and seen this thing. So his Peter Tingle seems to be more of a state of alertness rather than an ability to experience the world in slow-mo and react to life that much faster. As for Andrew Garfield, his reaction times do appear to be enhanced post-spider bite. I mean, snatching a fly out of the air is pretty darn cool, but it also doesn't necessarily mean that he's seeing the world in slow-mo to the degree that Tobey's character does. That being said, there is an argument to be made that Andrew's spider sense is way better than anyone we've ever seen in a movie ever. Consider this scene where he's literally dodging bolts of electricity.
Yes, so it is a case to be made. Tell me more, Matt, tell me more.
A visible bolt of lightning travels at about 1/3 of the speed of light, or 220 billion miles an hour. So dodging a bolt of electricity is obviously far more impressive than, say, seeing the world at 260 times slower than usual. But is the amazing part of the Amazing Spider-Man the fact that he's actively dodging those electrical bolts, or does Electro just have himself a bad case of Stormtrooper aim? Let's look at those slow-mo clips again. If we go frame by frame, we see that Spider-Man is looking at Electro before the bolt of lightning is shot. We also see that he makes no elusive movement until after the bolt passes beneath him. Looks like it's fair to just chalk this one up to Electro's bad aim, or more accurately, the inconsistent CGI work from the people working on this movie.
Oh my gosh! Oh, wow! It's like Star Wars, the Stormtroopers, their aim is not very good, similar to that.
But wait, Andrew still isn't down and out just yet. Sure, he might be benefiting from Electro's bad aim in this one scene, but in another scene, we actually get a moment similar to Tobey Maguire's Fly. Andrew is seeing the world in a slowed down state where he pulls a Jimmy Neutron brain blast and predicts the movements of the electricity, foreseeing that it's gonna go up the handrails and eventually hurt the civilians reaching for them.
Wow! Wow, oh my gosh! Jimmy Neutron reference! Like it, man. It's just awesome. So nostalgic and childhood-like.
Then we see him able to react accordingly in order to protect them. Clearly, this means he's faster than electricity and thereby the fastest of all our possible Spider-Men, right? Well, yes and no. You see, he's certainly faster than electricity. The problem here is that he's faster than Electro's electricity. And when you actually stop and do the math in these scenes, these things are actually shockingly slow. And definitely intended. This battle is happening on the TKTS booth in New York City's Times Square. The top of this iconic stairwell is 45 feet across, and we see Electro's electricity travel to the center of that handrail in exactly 10 frames. For a movie that runs 24 frames a second, that's 5/12 of a second to go 22.5 feet. Extrapolating out that math, we see that Electro's lightning actually travels at the astonishing speed of 36.8 miles an hour. And when I say astonishing, I mean astonishingly slow. I mean, that is slightly faster than me driving through a school zone. But it's clearly nowhere close to the billions of miles an hour of actual lightning, and it is still significantly significantly slower than the flapping of that fly's wings. Sorry, Andrew Garfield,
Sorry.
I tried, but I just can't justify giving you the win here. The fly snatching is admittedly more impressive than anything Tom Holland exhibits though, so the totals have been tallied. Can we get ourselves a drum roll please? Alright, that's the best you got. In third place with 4 points, we have Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Gold star for being smart and sciencey and all, but this ain't no gold star contest.
But you must understand that he's, after all, an amazing Spider-Man. The amazing Spider-Man. And amazing Spider-Mans. Yeah, he's just a good role model for everyone.
Just like it ain't no best hair contest. I just can't get over it. Look at the volume of that hair. It's no wonder he's a movie star and we're just lowly YouTubers. Next up, coming in with 7 points, we have a two-way tie for first place. That's right, we all thought that Tom was gonna run away with this thing, but it turns out that Toby has the grip strength to barely hold on. So there you
姜还是老的辣。OG!
You have it, folks. In the battle of Spider-Mans, there is no clear winner. We dug in, examined the data, and no clear winner could... Wait a minute, my theorist tingle is going crazy. I'm sensing a lot of you screaming at your screens right now because there's a Spider-Man movie I haven't mentioned yet. It's a
Spider-Verse!
feature-length Spider-Man movie. It had itself a theatrical release, and even though it's not part of a franchise, it should be considered according to the rules that I laid out earlier. That movie is, of course, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. But how do we go about comparing the animated characters in Spider-Verse to the live-action characters in the franchises? Pretty easily, actually, because one of our live-action Spider-Man actually crosses over into Spider-Verse, or at least one of his multiverse equivalents crosses into Spider-Verse.
Yes, think about it. Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Peter B. Parker.
See, there's a compelling theory that Tobey Maguire's Peter B. Parker is the exact same Peter B. Parker featured in Into the Spider-Verse, and the theory is supported by the fact that
They are more aged, they are more matured, they are more beat up, their body needed more recovery because of the age of all the Spider-Man thingy. As you grow older, the recovery periods of your body takes longer and longer and longer.
the producers at one point considered casting Tobey Maguire as Peter B. Parker's voice. I mean, it's come out since after the movie's release that Peter B. Parker in the movie isn't actually the same Spider-Man that we see in the Sam Raimi movies, but he's definitely going through the same types of adventures and life experiences, so even though he's not the exact one, he's pretty much a multiverse stand-in for the exact one. So, by the transitive property of equality, that would mean that Peter B. Parker from Into the Spider-Verse equals Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man from the Sam Raimi trilogy, which would then also equal Tom Holland's MCU Spider-Man. They are all relatively equal Spider-Man. So if we want to know how Tobey and Tom would stack up against the other Spideys in Into the Spider-Verse, all we need to do is look at how Peter B. Parker stacks up to them. First, let's look at Penny Parker and the Spider-Bot. From their performance in Spider-Verse, we know enough about this duo to not give them the win. Despite being highly ranked on all the usual Spider-Man comparison lists, Spider is a dud in Spider-Verse and winds up being the only Spidey character defeated in the final group battle. As for Spider...
RIP, man. RIP. The only person that died. Literally died. So, Penny Parker and Spider-Man. Spider robot
When
thingy.
Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Ham, they don't necessarily prove themselves stronger than Peter B. Parker during the end fight either. All three of them fight valiantly and at least survive the final battle, but so does Peter B. Parker. No matter how badly I want to give this win to Spider-Ham, I just can't. These three cameo Spideys just didn't have large enough roles in Spider-Verse to separate themselves out from the rest of the field. Sorry, but that's all, folks. However,
That's all,
Miles
folks.
gives
Oh my
us
God.
a lot to work with throughout this movie. He goes directly head-to-head with Peter B. Parker, who, remember, we've established is our Tobey Maguire character stand-in. Miles' invisibility lets him get the best of Doc Ock, whereas Peter B. Parker is easily captured by her. Plus, Miles successfully steals the goober away from Peter B. Parker without him knowing it. Later in the movie, Miles and Peter B. Parker go at it while fighting Kingpin, and in the end, Miles proves himself a better fighter by getting the best of Peter B. True, Miles is going against an older, out-of-shape Peter B. Parker, but the flip side of that coin is that Miles has only possessed his powers for a few days.
Yes, a few days. And that scene is really iconic. Take a leap of faith.
this point. He hasn't had any time to properly hone his skills and reach his full potential. Seems more than fair to consider Peter B. Parker's old age balanced out against Miles's inexperience. So in the end, Peter B. Parker, who's as strong a Spider-Man as our live-action franchises have to offer, gets himself bested by Miles Morales in a direct head-to-head confrontation. And that can only mean one thing: Miles Morales wins in a battle royale against all the different Spider-Men. Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland may portray the strongest Peter Parkers in cinema, but Peter Parker is no match for Miles Morales, the strongest Spider-Man in all the films.
Wait, does it mean that since he's inside the Avengers, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, does it mean that at some point in time it can be like strongest Avenger, but strongest Spider-Man? Point Break.
Just goes to show that the best Spider-Man film also happens to contain the best Spider-Man. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And if you want to see more Spider-Man content, check out this video on the left where I analyze the physics of Spider-Man's deadly web slinging. It turns out that Spider-Man should have died multiple times over, regardless of his super strength. Or while you're here, make sure you click the button on the right to subscribe. After that, I'm off. Next week, let's take a break from superheroes, shall we?
Thank you so much. Subscribe! Thank you so much for your supportiveness and encouragement for your positivity as well. Thank you so much. I hope to see you all in my next video. Wait, did I just say for your positive? Wait, what am I saying? Gosh. Anyways, thank you so much for watching the video together with me. If you do like this video, please remember to... Thank you so much for watching this video together with me. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel and I hope to see you all in my next video. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. Thank you. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye! Thank you. Spider-Man. Hit the hit the subscribe button. Yeah. Thank you. And that's a wrap. That's a wrap for today's live stream. Thank you all so much for watching this live stream with me. Once again to all the five individuals, who commented down and made the chat more engaging, more active. Thank you so much. Sincerest appreciation to all of you. And yeah, and I hope to see you all in my next live stream. Let's do the outro. But hey, that's just a stream, a live stream. Thanks for watching. And I hope to see you all in my next live stream. Thank you so much. Please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel and I sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for my work. Thank you so much for your positivity and wholesomeness, and your encouragement is just nice. Thank you.